Eric Lane, not much at all, as Howie Long 75 and Millen 55 with Martin 53 on the tackle.
These Raiders will move Howie all over the field when they get in a long yardage situation. They moved him clear over to the to face up on the left tackle for the Raiders. That's for the Seahawks. That's Ron Essink. And he made a good reaction to the running play, getting outside. Eric Lane is not a great speed back. He's what you call a straight ahead kind of runner, but boy, he will give you everything he has. He's not afraid to sell out and go for that extra yard or half a yard.
Well, Knox said his top priority was running the football, and even on 2nd and long, he went with the run. Now 3rd and 13, shotgun Dave Craig. Craig throwing to Byron Walker, and Walker not close to the ball, and the Raiders will get it. Alzado, the man pressuring Craig out of the pocket.
Howie Long coming in as well, and big Lyle Alzado. He's going to get tired if he has to run like that all day long. It is extremely hot on the field, as we'd mentioned, and the men who pay the biggest price for that are the big fellas down there in the offensive and defensive lines.
Greg Pruitt, who is just 12 yards away from 13,000 total yards, will be on the other end of Jeff West's punt. There's Pruitt, a dozen from the 6th man to reach a 13,000 total in this thing. Almost blocked. How did he get it out of there? And Pruitt, beautiful kick, fair catch at the 25-yard line. Oh my, Jeff West surrounded by black jerseys, and he was able to hit a mortar shot from the midst of them. 46 yards as the Raiders offense takes the field with Jim Plunkett at quarterback, Marcus Allen, their all-purpose back, and Kenny King, not used much as a runner. Cliff Branch, the ageless veteran, on one wing, and Malcolm Barnwell, the other wide receiver. Their top receiver, Todd Christensen, 92 catches to lead the league last year. Davis, Hanna, Dolby, Mosbar, and Lawrence, the offensive line. Said they haven't used Kenny King much, but he gets the call on 1st down and has nearly 9 yards before Bruce Schultz can make the tackle.
You might be wondering at home why both coaches wouldn't go after the running game, but it's establishing control on the line of scrimmage.
Jacob Green, Joe Nash, and Jeff Bryant, they've done a great job in rushing the passer, all 3 men. Nash the most improved of the Seahawks defenders. Schultz, Robinson, Butler, and Gaines at a linebacker for the injured Michael Jackson, and they're the 4 defensive backs. Marcus Allen has a 1st down at the 37-yard line. Shelton Robinson, who leads the Seahawks in tackles this year, number 57, notches another.
1st down.
Allen, leading rusher for the Raiders, but that average is not to his liking, 3.7. Alzado jogging back to the dressing room under his own power. Don't know what that's all about. He doesn't appear to be seriously injured. Plunkett's first throw, and plenty of time. And intercepted by the Seahawks. 45, 40, 35, and not out of bounds goes Bruce Schultz inside the Raider 35-yard line. Schultz, the Stork, has his 3rd interception. And the takeaways continue.
It sure does, Dick. That's the kind of thing this Seahawks defense has done so effectively all year long. Let's go back and look at it. This should be a reception. Right out of the hands of number 80, Malcolm Barnwell. And if he'd have let that ball go through, it would have gone freely back over the head of the defenders. But as it was, he tapped it right to number 58, Schultz, and Bruce knew what to do with it. And there's the first opportunity in the ball game to do something after a big break. There's a second shot of that play, and you saw how easy the interception was. I hate to see a quarterback tag for an interception on one like that.
A 15-yard return, and the Seahawks have the first break, and this is how they have posted that 4-1 record. Craig will throw on 1st down. Flags are down. Looking deep. It's a touchdown to Lane if it counts, but we would suspect holding against Seattle. Yes. Lane on a deep swing and a great throw by Craig.
What a shame. They're talking about somebody putting a stranglehold over there. He threw it on the right-hand side of the offensive line for the Seahawks.
There's a flag in the end zone, and another, number 76. There's another flag down in the end zone. Let's see what Ben Greif has there.
may have nullifying penalties here.
Steve August, the man guilty of the hold.
August working over there on Howie Long, who is, I think, the most capable of these rushers for the Raiders. Howie's got great strength and great speed, and he's one who was particularly embarrassed by the performance of the Raider defense last week.
He said, my grandma in the Boston area is watching, so you'll see me play a little different today. I don't dare meet her wrath.
There was an illegal demonstration on Seattle, but that's 2 fouls on Seattle. They accept a holding penalty and it's 10 yards.
So Eric Lane, a little extra, thinking he had the touchdown. They throw that penalty out. It's 10 yards for the hold.
Let's look right here at what happened in the end zone. What a big play. You know, he's going to get up and celebrate a little bit after the fact. At least I think he will when he finally gets up off the ground. Well, we didn't see the celebration, but there was a celebration. All for naught.
1st and 20 at the 44 of the Raiders. Reggie Kinlaw jumped after Howie Long was leaning into that neutral zone.
That's so hard on a defensive lineman. You're trained to move on motion. And Howie started off. Howie's trying to get a jump. I think they may have had a stunt there, and he slid inside.
That's a 5-yard penalty.
What he did is triggered the move by Reggie Kinlaw. Here you'll see it in the center of your screen. Now watch the left side. There it comes right down. I mean, it's awfully hard when you're holding on the nose. And of course, you can get back unless you make contact. Reggie made contact with the center, and they'll mark off 5.
Long was trying to guess the snap count. He was coming at an angle and then trying to dance back when Craig used the longer count. 1st and 15. This is Lane.
Ooh.
Lane, whose uncle was one of the best running backs in the league a few years back. MacArthur Lane. Eric, Brigham Young University. A classic overachiever, says Chuck Knox.
Certainly is. Look at that average. Very, very healthy average. Not the kind of guy. He's been a standout performer for this Seahawks team, but as the special teams captain. And you do that. That's mostly just hard work and dedication. And that's what he brings to this running back position. He's surprised everyone with his ability there.
Chargers have scored early at Green Bay, 7-0. Another team very much in this hunt of the American Conference West. 2nd and 13. Franco, nothing inside. No, did they have him corralled? And the big play made by 99 Sean Jones, the rookie from Northeastern. Then Bill Pickel, the second-year man from Rutgers, finished him off.
Well, if you're going to run back against the grain of a defense with good speed, you better be awfully fast. Franco, unfortunately, does not have that kind of speed. He did it one time. He was trying to cut against the grain, simply got gobbled up by that big black-shirted defense.
Jones, who lettered twice at Northeastern in lacrosse, was born in Kingston, Jamaica, high school Montclair, New Jersey, and he was staking residence in the Seattle backfield on that play. 3rd and 15 for Craig. Good protection. But he can't find Largent. He trapped the ball at the 26-yard line. And Largent with those great hands like an infield making that short hop, but the ball had kissed off the grass.
Largent had such a big week last week. 6 catches over 100 yards just in the first half. Ended up with 8 catches and well over 100 yards. But he is so much more important now, Dick, because of the loss of Paul Johns. Johns was the deep threat for the Seahawks. He's out with a vertebrae problem in his neck. Probably will have surgery, and they miss him. It puts a lot more pressure on number 80.
Jeff West, who had an excellent kick under heavy pressure, will try to nail it inside the 20. Greg Pruitt stands at the 10. They're coming after him again. Good looking kick. But the Seahawks can't down it. It hit the goal line.
Oh, what a shame.
By inches, they missed downing it inside the 1.
What a shame. And all they had to do was stay on the playing field and get that ball stopped. The ball had reacted perfectly. Looked like it had touched one of the Seahawks players on the outside. Look at the pressure from Lester Hayes right there. Lester almost got a hand on that ball, number 37. Now watch right here. Paul Moyer, number 21, looked like he tapped that ball back inside. Now you've got to stay in the playing field to stop that ball. No such luck as it's down by someone in the end zone.
Just to give you an overview of what is the best conference in the NFL, and Kansas City with a loss, the only team without a winning record now. Denver's already won. The Raiders and Seattle, the victor here this afternoon, moves into a tie, first place with the Broncos. Marcus Allen back to the 20, and that's all. Willing to go back for those who have joined us late. The concern of both coaches really focused on the running game. The Raiders trying to run better and stop the run, and it's 7-all as Green Bay strikes back to tie up the Chargers.
There is a great concern, and that is particularly true of the Raiders, who were beaten last week primarily because the Broncos were able to control the football on the ground. They are also extremely unhappy about the fact that they have not been able to run the football better so far during this season.
Allen again. And a yard at best for Marcus Allen. And Shelton Robinson, 57, and 72, Joe Nash. Nash from Boston College, a free agent pick. He's the middleman on the nose with 2 number 1 picks, Bryant and Green, playing the defensive ends, and it's the improvement of Nash that has really made that front three most effective. Welcome aboard those of you who have seen the Broncos take over, at least temporarily, first place in the AFC West with a 28-7 win at Pontiac, Michigan against the Lions, who are now a reverse 1-5. Here, no score. The Raiders ball, 3rd and 9 at their 21. Plunkett looking for Branch. And the turnover. Is that a fumble or a pass? Now they rule incomplete pass. Jacob Green thought that was a fumble. So 2 pass attempts by Plunkett. 1 has been intercepted, and that very nearly was picked off.
Here's a chance to watch Nash. You just talked about him, Dick. Let's see him in action here on the inside. Nose tackle number 72. Quick move right there, working on Don Mosbar. He gets pushed out of there, but almost gets that ball to drop right in his hands. Now, that's a lineman's dream.
Hey, there have been 2 touchdowns by defensive linemen today in the NFL.
Hey, my guys are doing all right.
Ray Guy's first punt. Oh, a bad kick off the side. And that's going to be to the Seattle's benefit around the 42-yard line. Maybe better than that, to the 41-yard line. Well, we've seen a lot of great Raymond Guy kicks. That's one of the worst we've ever seen him deliver. 19 yards.
And it hit Jim Plunkett. Plunkett just looked up and said, oh, no.
No score. Well, the Seahawks now have the ball on offense, but defensively they've been tigers. 25 turnovers would project to 80. 22 sacks to 70. They're going after a couple of NFL records the way they've been playing early. But now, more importantly, they have it offensively at the 41-yard line. First down on the short kick by Guy. Gary Lane, and there's not much there. Matt Millen makes the stop for the Raiders. From Los Angeles, we switch to New York.
All right, Dick, the expected aerial show is indeed developing in Green Bay. First possession for the Chargers. Back goes Dan Fouts. Lofts a 27-yarder to Bobby Duckworth. Nice grab. The Packers came right back on their first possession. Dickey to Paul Kaufman. Tied it at 7 in the first. Dick?
All right, Bob, quite in contrast to this scoreless game, the Packers and Chargers get 7 on the board early. 2nd down and 9. Charging through, and Eric Lane has to eat the football in his own backfield.
2nd down. They're trying to run the football again. Rod Martin says, not my direction, you're not going to run it. Just came through and smashed Eric Lane down. This is the 3rd possession for Seattle, a 2nd time they've had the ball inside Raider territory to start a drive, and so far they have just been shut down offensively.
One exception being the touchdown throw to Lane called back because of holding, and that's why Craig had so much time
to made a mistake that ended the drive for themselves, in essence.
Out of the shotgun is Craig from Milton College, one of 2 free agent quarterbacks on the Seattle club. Contrast to 2 number 1 picks for the Raiders. Going deep, and Largent isn't there. Largent broke inside, and Craig threw outside. Greg Townsend, 93, applying pressure for the Raiders.
I believe Townsend bumped Craig just as he threw that ball and caused that ball to go off course. Very often when that happens, you have an interception. That missile went off course and erratically hit the ground beyond any of the defenders.
So the Seahawks get an interception by Schultz and a return to the 35 of the Raiders, and a short 19-yard kick by Guy, and start in good field position on the Raider half of the field, unable to get a first down, and West will punt it again.
West will try and pooch this one again and get it down somewhere where it can be downed inside the 20.
Greg Pruitt, fair catch at the 14-yard line. You've been waiting all season for this on NBC. The World Series starts Tuesday night here in the home of the Peacock. A warm day, over 90 degrees on the field. Don't get too close to me. We'll stick together. It's humid as well, and you played in these conditions.
I tell you, it's very dead. The air is very dead down on the Coliseum floor. It's much hotter down there. In fact, temperatures easily today could be over 100 degrees down there, and you just get, with the humidity especially, to where you can hardly move around down there.
The Raiders have the ball at the 14-yard line. No score. 5:07 left in the first quarter, and again, neither team able to move the ball on the ground. Jim Plunkett, a great story. 14 years now, the Heisman winner. He's had his highs and certainly has noted the lows, but he's always rebounded, and when the games have been of significance, Plunkett has been a star.
2 of those 300-yard games this year, back-to-back, one of them in a loss against Denver. But Plunkett's numbers are not as spectacular as he would like them to be. Look at the interception total. 8 interceptions, only 4 touchdowns so far on the season.
Under pressure. Almost intercepted. In and out of the arms of Keith Butler, who was coming up to cover Marcus Allen.
It's almost a foregone conclusion. When you can put the heat on a quarterback, when you can make him jump around, you can very often force him to throw a pass he does not want to throw. There's the heat right there. A chance for Schultz to get a hold of Plunkett. Plunkett pulled the trigger, almost got that ball into the hands of Keith Butler. You'll see Butler right at the top of your screen, number 53. Watch him come in from behind. Got his hands on it. A little too hot to handle.
3rd down 7 from the 17. Going long for Branch, well covered by Easley. Well, that would have been an excellent punt, and maybe a wise choice that Easley did not come down with it, because that was a great throw by Plunkett.
You've got to wonder whether Easley was thinking this is the equivalent of a punt. Certainly not a good pass from Jim Plunkett. Plunkett had one similar to that intercepted last week against the Broncos.
Well, let's see, that ball would have been tackled probably around the 25-yard line. Let's see if Guy gets his punt that far.
Well, let's see what Easley's going to do, because he has the chance to catch this one now, as he has gone in place of Johns as the punt returner.
Seahawks have had fine high marks as punt return team throughout the last 3 years. Spiral boot by Guy. Fair catch at the 33. So Easley gains about 8 yards on the exchange. Seahawks have the ball for the first time in their own half of the field since the opening kickoff. Another great afternoon of football coming up next Sunday right here on NBC. Seahawks, the Raiders, no score. Seattle beat the Raiders on both occasions regular season last year, then lost in January in the championship game 30-14 on this Coliseum turf. Give us to the rookie Randall Morris, and Morris all the way out to the 41-yard line. He's a 10th round draft pick from the University of Tennessee, but played at high school ball over at Long Beach Poly High School. Steve Largent on a wing. He's going for a catch today that would extend his streak to 97 straight games. Largent now with 487 career catches, number 16 all time. We understand now that Jim Plunkett has a hip pointer, is injured.
He had a slight pointer coming into the game today.
Franco Harris driving back inside, and it appears he has a first down at the 44, and Jim Plunkett being attended to. Mark Wilson, who has not thrown a pass yet this year except on the sidelines and in the preseason, apparently will come in on the next series.
This is irony. You look back a season, it was Plunkett going in after the injury to Mark Wilson against Kansas City, and it was in a game against the Seahawks that he came back in to accept the starting responsibilities. Dr. Rosenfeld there with the black shirt attending to Jim Plunkett. As I mentioned, he had injured that hip last week against the Denver Broncos and said he was slightly injured. It is a first down, so the Seahawks Hawks will have 1st and 10 when we come back to play.
That is the initial first down of this game, and we have 3 minutes and 15 seconds left in the quarter.
Well, both defenses rated much higher than the offenses. We have the 5th and 6th best defenses in the NFL on the field today.
44-yard line. This is Morris, and he's got running room. 50. And out of bounds at the 44-yard line in Raider territory. And he gives them that little zip, some speed that they don't have with Lane or Dornick, the other 2 men at that position.
One of the things that's interesting about playing man-to-man is you never know what's going on behind you. The play is a run play, but Haynes is worried about Largent. Largent doing a little chicken fighting there with him at the end. But Dick, you're absolutely right about Randall Morris. They need that outside speed. They don't have it from Franco. They don't really have it from Eric Lane. They can get it from Randall Morris.
First down inside the Raider 45. Here's Morris again. Outside. And no, check it. Franco Harris galloping outside that time, and to the 41, a gain of nearly 4 yards for the veteran Harris, who at one point was the man we were focusing upon last year about this time as he passed O.J. Simpson. We were talking about Harris being the man to break Jim Brown's record and all the attendant publicity and the counterattack from Jim Brown himself. But today belongs to Walter Payton, and those of us here in Los Angeles send our congratulations to a great athlete and an outstanding man.
I think, too, it's got to be a relief for Franco that it's finally over there.
To change his flight plan. Jeff Barnes tripped him up inside the 40-yard line. It'll be 3rd and about 4.
Jeff Barnes on the center of your screen, number 56 here. He's pinching hard to the inside. Randall Morris looked like he was going to try and get something there, but Barnes there too quickly, unable to put the tag on him.
Barnes from California. The Bears had a big upset last night at Arizona State. Bill Capp's Cal team.
The feeling, they say from the sideline, that there's a pulled muscle in Plunkett's stomach. Doubtful that he'll return to the game, so we will see Mark Wilson.
3rd and 4. And the Raiders stop the run when they need to. Rod Martin makes the tackle. Outstanding linebacker from the University of Southern California, 53, Martin.
You have to take advantage of your opportunities on offense. The Seahawks have been inside of Raider territory 3 times already in this game, twice on turnovers and once with a couple of first downs here. They have not been able to convert any points on the board. Jeff West has to kick it away again, and that's a bad stat offensively for the Hawks.
Well, Seattle has been reluctant to pass. They have stayed to the game plan. Be patient with a run, Chuck Knox told us yesterday, and that means not only to run it, but don't get discouraged if you don't succeed. West aiming toward the corner, and he'll get it about the 12-yard line. Make it the 11-yard line. So West and the field position of Seattle constantly pinching the Raiders deep into their own end. It'll be Los Angeles at the 11 when we return. The tallest quarterback in the league, 6'6" Mark Wilson. Those are his career statistics. He has not thrown a pass this year. He takes over at the 11 and gives it to Marcus Allen. Not a bad choice. A flag is down as Allen is collared at the 15-yard line. Bruce Schultz made the tackle. While we wait for the penalty, let's go through its holding against whom. Mr. Dreitz says against the black jerseyed Raiders. Final scores: the Bears on Walter Payton Day, 27, beat New Orleans. 31-7, Miami remains unbeaten, 1 of 2. San Francisco plays tomorrow night. Denver a big win. They're 5-1 at Detroit, 28-7. St. Louis upsets Dallas in Dallas, 31-20. 17-16. The Jets are now 4-2. They win in Kansas City. New England a 17-16 winner against the Cleveland Browns, and a big win for the Patriots. 35-7. The Redskins seem to have their ship back on a obvious course. And Tampa Bay 35-31 against Minnesota. James Wilder, isn't he something? Philadelphia wins by 10 against Buffalo. So you're up to date on all the early games today.
Number 73 refused the penalty. It's second down.
Charlie Hanna, because the line of scrimmage, the 11, half the distance, would only take it in there to around the 5+. So they decide to take the play instead, and it's second down and 7. That's an interesting call.
It is an interesting call, and that's one that you don't make unless you're very confident in your defense. And certainly Tom Catlin must be very confident what they'll be able to do on this third down or second down.
Give it to Kenny King. No, it's Frank Hawkins, and he struggles out to the 17-yard line. Hawkins' first call. The powerful 210-pounder from Nevada Reno, Bruce Schultz, wraps him up. He's 6 feet 6 inches tall. I guess the stork comes from the fact that his body configuration, much like the great former stork of the Raiders, Ted Hendricks, now retired.
I've got to wonder about that penalty call. I'm not so sure I would have done it that way, Dick. I think I'd have marched him back to the 5.5.
Third down and 4. Mark Wilson for the injured Jim Plunkett. Wilson's first throw, plenty of time. The hit immediately was Marcus Allen by John Harris, the safety, and I believe Harris got him before the first down sticks. Let's see where they give progress.
I think they're going to have to maybe come in and measure it, although he had to get all the way to the 21. It looks like it's inside of the 21, and they're just going to bring him out there to kick it away. Yeah, well, maybe a good call. They did shut him down.
So the Seahawks and the Raiders defense shining in Los Angeles. The end of a scoreless first quarter. Well, the defense dominated that first 15 minutes while Seattle had possession, and as Merlin pointed out, 3 chances inside the 50, 28-25 total yards. Seahawks, and Seattle still looking for its first passing yards. Raymond Guy to punt. He'll kick from around his 10. Kenny Easley back at the 36 of Seattle. Short kick, Easley up at the 41. A return chance. And he's to the 49 of the Raiders. Easley 10 yards on the return after a 39-yard kick.
On that last play, Terry Taylor, number 20, dips in around Jack Squirick, and he's at a bad angle, or he might have had a chance to get his hand out in front of that punt. Very, very quick young man.
Taylor, who loves to block him. No score. Pro Bowler last year, the AFC Defensive Player of the Year, named by UPI, Rod Martin. Outstanding at that outside backer position. Seattle with the ball. First down at the Raider 49. Oh, a little razzle-dazzle. Throwing long. Oh, that should be in. No call at the other end as number 81, Darrell Turner, got stepped on, and a flag is down anyway. Back in the backfield of the Seahawks. Holding.
We've got a holding call, and officials have been much more lenient downfield to the defensive backs. If they feel that the bump is unintentional on the heels, Rod Martin will get the chance to make the call here.
Offense number 76.
Boy, that's a little page out of Marcus Allen's book, and there was the tap right there on the heels of Darrell Turner.
Now watch Randall Morris. He was a quarterback at Long Beach Poly High School. So was Tony Hill and Gene Washington and Andre Tyler. A lot of folks there at Long Beach Poly who are quarterbacks went on to star in another position in the NFL.
That was an excellent pass.
Indeed. Atlanta, Chicago, Detroit, most penalized, but Seattle and the Raiders have had more than their share. Here comes Franco to midfield. Gets back about 8 of the 10 lost on the penalty, but there's another flag down.
Seahawks actually lead the Raiders in number of penalties, and they have had more than their share in the early going here. I think Eric Lane may have been guilty of a hold on that play as the flag was literally thrown almost on top of him. Raiders have a good choice here. They can make it first and awfully long, or they can elect to refuse the penalty and have a second and long here.
Martin points to send them back.
Well, they've marched them right out of territory. They started this drive inside Raider territory. That will be the 4th time they've been there all day.
Holding number 37.
Chuck Knox is furious on the far sidelines.
Not extremely happy with his offensive team, and rightfully so. Neither offense able to generate anything here in the first quarter. And the Seahawks certainly having far and away the better opportunities, as they have, as I said, been inside of Raider territory 4 times so far this afternoon, and they're going the wrong direction right now, Dick.
Well, Merlin, in 5 games coming into this one, they've been penalized 485 yards. That's nearly 100 yards a game in penalties. And they're finding the bite of that. 1st and 30 now at their own 33. And they stay on the ground. Lane for 5 yards, and that's all. No score early in the second quarter here in Los Angeles. Let's check elsewhere. Back we go to New York.
All right, Dick, and elsewhere is Green Bay, where San Diego has taken a 14-7 lead on the Packers. Dan Fouts' second touchdown pass of the day. Would you say that Pete Holohan was open? I would. 5 yards touchdown, 14-7 San Diego, early in the second.
All right, Bob, and of course we'll have at halftime. We'll shake down all of the results here of this 6th week of the NFL season on NFL 84. Second and mighty long for Dave Craig. They stay on the ground. Morris finding some openings. 45, breaks 2 tackles, 50, and he's out of bounds at the Raider 47. Not only some clever, but some aggressive running by rookie Randall Morris, 16 yards.
Randall Morris, the most efficient running back of all the Seahawk backs in the early going preseason, on injured reserve. The first 4 games of the regular season. Came back last week. They threw him his first toss last week. He dropped the football for a big loss, but he came back to make some good plays and has made several here so far in this game.
Now watch him here. Rod Martin and Mike Haynes. Those are 2 pretty good defensive players, and neither can get him down. And finally run out of bounds by McElroy. 3rd and 8.
Blitz.
At the 47 after a 1-yard gain, Bill Pickel.
I believe the way they're going to mark it, it will go down as a sack as they get him behind the line of scrimmage on a long 3rd down. Craig not afraid to run with that football as he pulls it down. We mentioned a blitz coming here. You'll see Rod Martin, 53, coming from the top of your screen. Pickel coming from the bottom part of your screen. The 2 of them in tandem, along with Greg Townsend, 93, as Pickel showing good speed as he pushed the quarterback out of bounds.
6'5" and 260, and was outrunning Craig. So 4 times in Raider territory, 4 times empty. The Seahawks. West kick toward Pruitt. Takes a Seattle bounce. A great bounce, and out of bounds at the 3-yard line. That's what West has done so very well. He doesn't have the strength of leg that some NFL kickers do, but oh, does he have direction.
Looked like he had a string on that one.
Today's game is brought to you by Mazda and the full line of sophisticated Mazda products. By Miller High Life, the best beer for the best time of the day. Welcome to Miller Time. And by Radio Shack, the computer experts.
Crowd of 75 to 80,000 at the Coliseum, sunny Los Angeles. The Raiders pinned deep at their own 3-yard line as Mark Wilson is at the controls for the injured Jim Plunkett. Wilson going long for Allen. Marcus Allen at the 40-yard line. Did they touch him?
No, they didn't get him. Very intelligent play by Marcus. He didn't hear the whistle. He bounced up off the ground and made that play twice as long as the original reception. Mark Wilson showing you his touch out of his own end zone. Dave Brown, number 22, covering man-to-man. Brown does not touch him there, and you see Marcus just leaping up off the ground. Brown made a startling recovery as he got back to get a piece of it, but Marcus got it all the way down to the nose, just touching the 5-yard line. Marcus drawing a few deep breaths on the sideline.
I think Dave Brown thought he touched him in the jersey, but certainly it wasn't evident enough for the officials. Greg Pruitt inside the 5-yard line. Keith Butler, 53, spearheaded the defensive charge.
I think the biggest improvement in this Seattle team has been in their ability not to give up these big plays. This is the kind of thing that frightened Tom Catlin, their defensive coordinator, most. He said, we can't give them anything easy. We can't let them get down there that simply. There you saw Marcus finally being corralled on the 5. Second about 4, isn't it?
At the 4. Pruitt and Hawkins behind Wilson. Pruitt again. Is he in? No signal yet.
I don't think he's in, Dick, but he is very close.
So Allen perhaps out of breath after that long run. So Hawkins and Pruitt, and Greg Pruitt getting a rare chance down on the goal line.
Pruitt surprisingly agile and strong after so many years of taking a hammering in the NFL. Let's take a look at him here as he just pops up inside. Hawkins driving in there, blocking on John Harris, number 44, got it all the way nosed up to the goal line. Responsibilities in the trenches now.
Allen did not make it. Marcus Allen was stopped as there was excellent penetration by the interior defense of the Seahawks.
I think they anticipated that play. That's the way Marcus had scored so efficiently against the San Diego Chargers, an evening on which he got 4 touchdowns. And Tom Flores says we're going to go back and try it again. Let's see the play. Oh, good job by Moyer, 21 from the outside. Took Marcus's legs right out from underneath him. Let's see what they run here, Dick. They couldn't make it inside. They give Marcus the ball outside. Seahawks, good pursuit. They got a good piece of Marcus, but he just lowered his head and put it in the end zone.
Now Allen, who knows the way, he's averaged a touchdown a game in the National Football League and just did dive in under that Seahawks. Look at that ball right on the goal line.
He absolutely had to submarine under the 79 Jacob Green, the big defensive end who was over on top, to get that ball across the line.
No snap, and let's check the penalty.
Looked like the Seahawks a little eager to try and get in and get a piece of that ball and block it.
Now Marcus Allen alertly on the pass play when not touched. Scrambled to his feet and turned what was about a 40-yard pass into a 92-yard pass play from Mark Wilson, and then it's Allen on 4th and 1.
On the center.
Now the center moving the ball.
Center moving the ball, so they were enticed into movement. They'll move it back 5 yards and makes it a little bit tougher, but still a mighty easy kick.
Mark Wilson to hold would be the equivalent of a 25-yard field goal. Raiders lead 7-0.
Chance to observe that play as you'll watch Marcus Allen bearing to the right side. Now you'll see him right at the last moment coming underneath the pile. Good balance there. Now just a second, right there. You see him right there, just sliding underneath that pile, extending his body, pushing the ball over the goal line.
You talk about nose for the goal line. There was an outstanding definition. Chris Barr has it teed up, and then the ball knocked off the tee, and that has to be a welcome breeze here in the Coliseum.
Absolutely dead still here earlier, but now the air is moving a little bit, and that is welcome down on that hot Coliseum floor. Big play on that Reception by Marcus Allen. And Dick, in watching it unfold, I think that Dave Brown thought he touched him.
Go back and take another look at it. Barr hits one very well. Boy, his legs certainly getting stronger with age. Let's go back to the play. Oh, not the touchdown. We were talking about the pass that set up the touchdown. Was he indeed touched before he got up and ran? And
we'll get that to you. That's another look at Marcus's touchdown as he goes over the top and then underneath to get that ball on and across the goal line.
Now the Seahawks have stayed with considerable determination to their running game plan. Now, when's Chuck Knox going to open it up and throw the pass?
I think he has to do it here. He can't play as conservative anymore because they've lost the first advantage. The Raiders up 7-zip. They've got to open up the gates a little bit.
And indeed, Craig will throw. First time on first down. Great protection. And he slides out to the 26-yard line. Now let's go back to Mark Wilson's first completion of the year. Watch carefully. Does Harris 44 or 22 Brown touch Marcus? Now, from that angle, you can't see.
We can't really see it, but I think what he did, I think he touches his legs right there.
Oh, there he reaches out. Now, you can't tell from that angle if he actually touched him or not. It looks as if he is, but
you still have to open your ears, and the critical thing is the whistle. It's not whether you touched him or not. It's whether the official saw the touch, and that's what killed the Seahawks on that play.
A gain of almost 7. 2nd and 3 for Craig. Franco Harris reversing his field, and he's got a little running room now. And Steve Larson threw a little peel back block to help Harris to the 30-yard line and close to a first down. Mike Haynes made the tackle.
Looked for a second like there was going to be a lot of room over there. Good block by Largent.
Seahawks have had good field position, but have not been able to sustain anything, either penalties or failure to be able to run the football on the Raiders.
That has to be terribly disappointing. They have played well offensively despite the loss of Warner, despite the loss of Johns, and today they're having to operate without Charlie Young, their tight end. Charlie's down with a groin injury, so you've really taken 3 of the most productive, certainly the 2 most productive weapons away from him.
It's a first down at the 30.
Mike Davis operating with a bruised thigh out there, very alertly on top of that ball. Some heat from Howie Long coming from the inside here, number 75. You see him right there. Davis from the backside, and that's something that the Seahawks have specialized in, stripping the ball away.
Pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
WTOV-TV, Steubenville, Wheeling.
Dick Entrick with Merlin Olsen. Welcome back to the Coliseum. A crowd near 80,000, we would guess. 90-degree temperatures. The turnover, and now Marcus Allen hit hard on first down. Maybe a yard at best. Appeared to be Jacob Green who shot through. David Dolby. He and Jim Otto, boy, they've owned that center spot for the Raiders.
Inside, a good battle going on between Dolby and Nash, just smashing it up on the line of scrimmage. Good physical ball game down there. Not much happening except for that long pass completion, but new man at the controls.
Wilson almost tipped forward to Cliff Branch. Marcus Allen, the intended receiver. Mark Wilson, drafted number 1, a 15th pick in the first round by the Raiders in 1980. Remember, last year he replaced the injured Plunkett after Seattle had beaten up Plunkett and defeated the Raiders up in Seattle. Updates: Atlanta leading the Rams 10-0 over in Anaheim. Second quarter in Houston and Cincinnati, both looking for its first win, and they're both scoreless. Maybe no one can win that one.
Maybe nobody's going to get out of that one with a score. Let's follow up on Wilson. He's an interesting story. He would be starting on a lot of ball clubs long before he's had a chance to start here.
Blitz is on, and Wilson gets good protection. Christensen, touchdown! Christensen's 30th catch and his 4th touchdown. Make it 4 now. Those are his marks coming in today.
Todd Christensen just splitting the seam on the defense as the blitz was on. Mark Wilson calmly waiting until he's open. A little bit behind Christensen, who made a great adjustment to the football to get the touchdown.
Little trouble with his snap, but Wilson gets it down. It's 14-0. So the Mike Davis play, he forced the fumble, recovered the fumble at the 24, and then Wilson, looking over the tall trees, finds Todd Christensen, and the Raiders lead 14-0. Christensen, the NFL's leading receiver last year, 92 catches, had his best day against the Seahawks, and has just snared a 24-yard throw from Mark Wilson to give the Raiders a 14-0 lead. The kickoff by Chris Barr. Zachary Dixon at the goal line. And Dixon dragged down from behind at the 20-yard line by James Davis. Let's go back to the touchdown and overview.
Two quick things to look for. The safety blitzing here, and watch the pattern right here. Todd Christensen singled up. A little fake to the outside on Terry Jackson, and then downfield to the opening. Safety driving inside. Wilson knows he's got single coverage. There's the fake. Good job of getting the defensive back to turn around. Now watch the adjustment to the ball. Absolutely 180 degrees. That's a fine reception.
Oh, he has those big hands, and such soft hands they are. Seattle now down 14-0. Craig has not completed a pass. That has to be offside. Craig throwing incomplete. And thus far, Steve Largent has been held without a catch. That was intended for Eric Lane.
One of the reasons that Largent will have more trouble today is that with Johns out of the lineup, it's easier to double team him.
Defense offside, 5-yard penalty.
Matt Millen apparently jumping in.
Millen down in a down lineman position. Looked like a frog jumping in there, trying to get back out, but couldn't make it as they will tag off 5 yards. That's one of the better gains. The Seahawks have not done well against this Raider defense today. They need to get going here. They need to light themselves on fire a bit.
The only man able to run the ball effectively, Randall Morris. And he's at that tailback position. This is Morris. 25 and down at the 30 after a 5-yard gain. It appears that he may have picked up the first down. Van McElroy with a tackle.
Good blitz inside by Mike Davis, who missed the tackle. McElroy finally made the stop.
I understand the Cubs have taken an early lead at San Diego 2-0. The World Series on Tuesday night, the Detroit Tigers against either the Chicago Cubs or the San Diego Padres. It's now 3-0. The Cubs lead at San Diego behind Rick Sutcliffe, who has had that amazing year since the trade from Cleveland brought him to Wrigley Field. If it's the Cubs that win, the series will open in Detroit on Tuesday night. If it's San Diego that wins, then Detroit will play at San Diego Tuesday night. First down. Craig dumping it off to Metzler's. And the tight end able to drag it down for about a 9-yard gain. He was a great basketball player at Wabash College, where he, as a senior, shot over 75%, a collegiate record.
Certainly has shown us a little bit of his jumping skill on that play as he went up to haul down a rather high pass. I believe that's Craig's first completion, isn't it, of the afternoon? And maybe the Seahawks are going to get themselves moving here. They've sure blown some good opportunities early in this game, and now they look up on the scoreboard and find themselves looking at the short end of the stick.
6 minutes, 10 seconds left in the half. This is David Hughes, his first carry, and I don't think he got to the first down sticks. Is Howie Long, 75 from Villanova. The relentless Long at 270 pounds made the stop.
Let's go down and take a peek in the pits. Bill Pickell right here working on Blair Bush, and that is a battle between the two of them. Watch Pickell here as he slides off. He gets the advantage of the angle and uses his power to get across in front of that play and get a piece of that tackle. Now that's good pursuit. good, hard play from the interior of that line. It's so important for that nose tackle.
Indeed, Piquel should be credited as much as Long on that tackle. 3rd and 1. And Hughes able to lurch forward with a little help from a friendly white jersey as someone hooked under the armpit and dragged him that last half yard.
And the spot is so important on a play like this. The officials trying to figure out where that ball ended up, and it's going to be very close. Indeed, they may have to bring in the markers from the sideline. That's what we're going to have here, Dick.
Let's go back and see how Hughes, and when you're down in that pile of humanity, you try to help that runner any way you can.
A lot of scraping and fighting and chewing going on down there as those two lines are surging back and forward each other. There, somewhere in the middle of that stack, is the football. Now you tell me where it ended up. Now those officials have to call that. I think you get an aerial view on that look down from the top.
Kind of guess where those arms were. Robert Pratt, 61, might be credited with getting that first down. The right guard. He was there to try to help out his runner every way he can. Clock 4:58 and running. 14-0 the score. Raiders lead. First half. Flag down as Pete Metzler has the reception at the 47, about a 7-yard pickup. Flag is over where you might suspect a chuck or a defense or offensive push on a wide receiver. Nope, offside against the Raiders.
That's interesting. That obviously will be accepted. Well, not obviously. It's down to where it would be second and about 2 yards. This is another interesting call. Yeah, Knox says take the 5 and the down, I think. Here we go.
Lined up in the neutral zone, a defense number 99. They'll take the penalty of the first down.
Sean Jones, the rookie.
Sean Jones lining up in the neutral zone. I can't spot him there. Those bodies are a flag will come in. You see him there at the top of your screen. He's the man who got his head too far up over the ball before the play was actually instigated. And the reason they took the penalty, they want the down. It's important for them to have the down, even though they would have ended up 2 yards further up the field. There's Sean Jones over at right end.
Randall Morris, a gain of only 3 to the Seattle 48-yard line for the 183-pound rookie. 10th round pick from Tennessee.
I think that's almost exactly where the ball ended up on a second down before, but you'll see a lot of alternating today. Chuck Knox will be bringing those backs on and off the field all day long.
Last 2 weeks, the Raider defense allowing a total of 380 yards to the Chargers and Broncos, 380, and that really concerned Flores.
Well, he's improving on that average. His defense is today. They are not giving up a lot of yardage on the ground to the Seahawks so far.
2nd and 2. Franco Harris, flag down, and Harris all the way to the 40-yard line.
I think we may have an illegal block on number 37, Eric Lane. Lane coming in to block either on the end or the linebacker.
Now that nullifies a 12-yard gain for Franco. That's 3 times now that the Seahawks have picked up that 10-yard penalty in this portion of the field. Atlanta finds its 10-0 lead melting a bit against the Rams in Anaheim in the second quarter.
Really a shame the Seahawks self-destructing on their drives today. Of course, the biggest mistake, the one that cost them the touchdown to Lane in the end zone in the early part of the first quarter. And the whole complexion of this game could be different as a result of that one play.
Well, they had field position, and Wilson had to start from his own 3-yard line. That long 92-yard play to Marcus Allen set up the touchdown, and then the one turnover for the Raiders, and they capitalized on the 24-yard pass play. Wilson to Todd Christensen. Franco Harris, and even on 2nd down and 12, the Seahawks stay with the run.
You you've got to remember that Dave Craig does not call these plays. Kenny Myers actually doing most of the calling, although he will consult with Ray Prohaska as the offensive coordinator. Knox has an input here, and it's Knox's very, well, I'd say conservative input in this game. They are not doing a lot of exciting things offensively. That's Chick Harris on the right, Jimmy Zorn on the left, both signaling over there. One of them will be a live signal, one will be a dead signal.
Hate to tell you, they just called for the double steal.
Well, they'd like to steal about 7 points here, Dick.
3rd and 12. It's a very long 11. To this side to Largent. And he hadn't quite turned. Covered in Steve Largent's string now. Still at 96. He does not have a reception today.
Craig heads off the field. One of the first people that will try and have a little input with him coming off the field will be Jimmy Zorn, although both of them said that when things are going badly, Craig really doesn't want to talk. There you saw the little tap from Zorn, and he didn't stay to say much because he realizes there's a lot of frustration there. Chick Harris and Knox both over. They're going to say something.
So trailing 14-0 with 2:53 left in the half. The Raiders will get the ball. West to kick to Pruitt. Very short, high. Pruitt, fair catch. Oh! And Seattle has recovered at the 27-yard line. Eric Lane, I believe, 37, fell on the football. There he is.
Lane is captain of those special teams, a very alert player, and still, in spite of the fact that he's starting, he is on those special teams. Watch Pruitt here, adjusting to that very high kick under pressure. A late call. Pruitt diving for the ball, but it goes into the hands of number 37, Eric Lane, and the Hawks have another great opportunity.
That's their second takeaway, an interception, and now a fumble recovery. Let's see if they capitalize. 2:44 left in the half. The numbers on the left through 5 games for Seattle, and have projected over the 16-game season in the National Football League. Those would be NFL records, turnovers, or takeaways, actually, and sacks. And Seattle has done it again.
Well, they have 2 already. This one marks them at their deepest penetration to Raider territory.
At the 27. Craig will throw on first down and goes up to Largent. He's got it. Touchdown. Steve Largent's first catch of the game. 27-yard touchdown, and his streak is now at 97. And he's tied with Don Hudson all time.
One-on-one. Ted Watts, number 20, and he is absolutely covered here. One-handed catch. A one-handed catch right over the top of the defender. You won't see a finer catch than that anywhere in the NFL. Hayes is on the bench momentarily with a muscle cramp. Watts goes in his place and had excellent coverage, but they went to him anyway. Largent comes down with the bacon and 6 points.
Norm Johnson to try the point after. And he's got it at 14-7. That catch by Largent was his 488 in his career, tying Don Hudson, number 16 all time, the great former Packer. 14-7. One play after the takeaway, Dave Craig. It's Steve Largent. And the Seahawks are right back in the game. Trailing 14-7. They'll kick it off Dokie Williams or Clee Montgomery.
That has to help your confidence. That has to make that whole Seahawk bench feel much better about where they are in this ball game. They needed to take advantage of one of those opportunities, and they got it.
Well, I'd like to see that play again.
Well, we may just show it to you, Dick.
Well, the ball blown off the tee once more. Norm Johnson. He, like Marcus Allen, this was his home field in college. He played at UCLA. Of course, the Bruins now use the Rose Bowl as their home arena.
Tremendous crowd here today. Oof, wall-to-wall people.
Clee Montgomery will not run it up. Boy, Johnson was such an easy leg move.
Let's take a peek at it right here. Now, watch Largent. A couple things to look for. As he heads down the field, you see him stutter step a little bit and then burst toward the end zone. Man-to-man coverage, and Watts is all over him. Look at this play. Now, a quarterback really has to throw reluctantly to a receiver that's covered as tightly as that. And Largent is one man that they'll throw to that way because he'll go up and do exactly what he did there. Bring the football down. Caught it right out of the coverage. And one hand right over the back of Ted Watts.
Pro Bowl, all-pro play. Mark Wilson, a pump fake and looking over the middle. Todd Christensen tackled by Kenny Easley. Short of the first down, 7 yards.
Dick, one thing we should mention. This Raider organization is a bit unusual in a sense that very often, even if you have shown the potential to beat out someone in the lineup, you don't always get into that lineup. And then certainly in the case of Jim Plunkett, he has stayed in the lineup because he's been so productive over past years, has not had a great start. This might be the chance that Mark Wilson needed to get back into that lineup. Play is blown dead for some reason.
Well, 2-minute warning. Wilson was trying to hurry them up there to beat that 2-minute clock to give him another play, but didn't quite get the snap in time.
Well, this might be Mark Wilson's opportunity.
14-7 the score. 2 minutes left, first half. The answer is Chuck Knox and Dick Williams. What coaches or managers have led their team into the playoffs with 3 different teams? For Knox, it was the Rams, Buffalo, and Seattle last year. And, of course, Dick Williams won the World Series with the A's, got the Red Sox in their marvelous impossible year into the series, and this year into the playoffs with the San Diego Padres. 2nd and 3. Wilson going long for Barnwell. He's got it at the 30-yard line of Seattle. And how many times this year have we seen the Raiders go to Barnwell?
Malcolm Barnwell, deep threat, with great speed on the outside. Kenny Easley backpedaling. He's kind of the center fielder back there and responsible to help deep. He cuts across, gets there very late. Terry Taylor, young rookie, trying to cover Malcolm Barnwell, and I think just got burned by Barnwell's speed, and that's the last thing in the world you want to let happen defensively.
43 yards on the throw. Wilson, that should be in the grasp. He threw it with his left hand, and Ben Dryth, the referee, says yes, the man was already in the grasp of 77 Jeff Bryant, #1 pick from Clemson in '82.
The pressure from the Seahawks defense has come predominantly from the front line. They had 14 of the 22 sacks coming into this game, and Jeff Bryant, responsible for a number of them, has played extremely well. They have not been able to sack quarterbacks too many times today, but had good pressure on Plunkett early and sent him to the pits with a pulled muscle in his stomach. That's why Wilson is in the ballgame.
Just missed connections with Cliff Branch. As Wilson, under fire, made an excellent throw and narrowly missed 6.
Mark Wilson is impressive in a couple of ways. One thing, if you noticed how calm he is in that pocket, just drops back there and just stands with that extra height, has good vision of what's happening downfield, and throws a different kind of pass from Plunkett, a much higher trajectory on the ball. Uses a little more touch perhaps to drop, especially on the long passes, to drop them into those receivers.
3rd and 17. Raiders trying to build on a 14-7 lead. 1:23 left in the half. Here's where they like to go to Marcus. Fumble!
Seahawks ball.
No, Marcus Allen. Oh, my.
It looked like the Seahawks were going to have that football as 2 Seahawks had their hands on it, but it eventually was bounced away, and alertly, number 32, who makes his reputation carrying that football, not recovering it. 3rd takeaway by the defense today, although they don't get the takeaway here. Ball is knocked loose. There it is. 1, 2.
Marcus, the intended receiver, alertly going to the football.
Oh, that's too bad. Keith Simpson, 42, the man who had his hands on it. It'll be 4th down here.
And Raymond Guy will punt. They're not going to go for the field goal.
Would be a long one.
NFL 84 at halftime. with the top plays, and there have been some most interesting ones. And we have a special guest, a former teammate of Merlin Olsen, who's endeavoring to make it big on another platform as one of the stars of a new NBC series.
Good to see him. Haven't seen Freddie for a while.
Dave Brown, the veteran quarterback, talking with referee Ben Bright.
Delay the game on the offense. 5-yard penalty.
The Raiders letting that clock tick down as they took almost 30 seconds off. Just under 30 seconds left to go in the first half now. And let's see if they don't come and try to block this punt. Not much to lose in this kind of situation, although you'd hate to rough the kicker. That's about the only big mistake you can make.
Keep your eye on Terry Taylor. He's lined up on the end, near side, number 20.
Jeff Paxton. Here's your report. We'll call the same office.
Now he doesn't come. Oh, number 50, though, Fred Young thought he had it. And it's a great kick by out of bounds at the 1-yard line for Raymond Guy. Covered well downfield.
Otis McKinney, number 23, streaking down that sideline and just batted that football back and out of bounds. That's about as pretty a defensive play or special teams play as we've seen all day. Perfect positioning on the ball, and he looked like it was going to bounce into the end zone, but he just tapped it, knocked it back into the end zone. Fred Young, by the way, has blocked one punt already this year. The Seahawks got two, one each in each of their first games, and Young almost in on top of Ray Guy to get that one. Now, Flores seems to say he wants the timeout. Feels they may be able to get a safety here. That ball dangerously close to the end zone.
Craig falling forward, and the Raiders indeed will spend a timeout. Why not? 15 seconds left in the half.
Smart call by Flores, as he said, if you're just going to lay down like that, that puts you almost in the end zone. Now we'll make you play the second play. Maybe a chance to bobble a snap, cough it loose.
To the left of Tom Flores, as you look at Craig, maybe we could get a shot of Willie Brown, and across the way, of course, Chuck Knox. Both of these franchises celebrated a Hall of Fame celebration this summer. Mike McCormick, the president of the Seattle Seahawks, a former outstanding star, two-way player with the Cleveland Browns. And, of course, Willie Brown, a brilliant defensive back with the Oakland Raiders through the years. And there's Willie. He said, you know, I said, who are the toughest? He said, well, the usual names, you know, the Allworths, the two Taylors, Otis and Charlie Taylor and Paul Warfield. He said, but Don Maynard. He says, why isn't Don Maynard in the Hall of Fame? Over 600 catches. How has he been forgotten?
I think he'll be there. I think he'll be there. And right now, Willie giving some signals out there. You've got to wonder, both teams have had a chance now to consult with the coaches. You look at that ball dangerously close to the end zone. You wonder if Craig is just going to try and run it out, shut this clock down, or will he go back and try and throw it out of there?
Well, that would certainly be out of character if he does throw one.
It would be. It's been a very conservative game so far for Knox and his staff.
And he just did get out of the end zone. Eric Lane.
There's Millen. He's calling another timeout. Hey, they're going to make him get it out of there again.
The Raiders putting the pressure on Seattle, and Lane may have gained a half a yard. But, boy, from the handoff was 5 yards deep in the end zone.
Oh, well, that's just a little coaching there. You see him call it again. He said, hey, let's do it again. And right now they're thinking maybe if they can get him stopped again, they can force him to punt. And there's not much room to snap that ball back to your punter. So he's got to punt from close to the line. Maybe you get in and block it.
Well, there's another aspect of a possible punt, Berlin, and that is that on a short kick, fair catch, you get a free kick for a field goal.
You've got the free kick, and no one can attempt to block that one. You get a chance to take a free pop at that goalpost, and Barr certainly with a strong enough leg to take advantage of that. There's
Rusty Tillman, an outstanding coach of the special teams for Seattle. I mean, if you if your son deserves credit and praise, the father and mother should take the bows too, and that's the case with the Seahawks. They're at special teams, perhaps the best in the NFL the last couple of years, and Rusty Tillman is their man, the former Redskins player.
He certainly is the power source. He's got a tremendous amount of energy, and those special teams players, they listen to him. They digest those words carefully.
Wasn't that interesting? Knox said that 23% of all the plays are special teams plays, he said. So these are another group of starters. I consider them starters.
He gives them that status, and that's one reason they perform so well. Ooh.
Lane again, and a flag down as Lane barely made it out of the end zone.
Again, one of the dangers down there, if a penalty is called on an offensive team in the end zone, it's a safety. I believe they're out of the end zone here with the call, but let's see what they're going to ticket. Well, and they say it's against the Seahawks, at least one of the Raiders signaling. Rod Martin pointing back at the Seahawks. That would mark half the distance, and here comes the punting team.
Offense, illegal motion, number 88.
Well, this is the situation.
Decline a penalty.
This is the situation that the Raiders hope to create. They now have an opportunity, short field, to try and block this punt.
And also, if the ball is in the air and Craig Pruitt fair catches it, he'll be in excellent position for an easy, uncontested kick for 3.
Have you ever seen one in the pro game?
I've seen it tried. In fact, the Rams tried it once when you were playing and failed. And David Ray.
David Ray, that's right. That's the only one that I've ever seen as a player or as a broadcaster.
It's going to be fair caught at the 42-yard line now with no timeout. So the clock ran out, and so we will not have that chance. But had the time not run out, then Barr could come up, tee up the ball. The
Steve Ortmeyer out on the field saying what happened, but apparently time ran out before the ball was kicked.
And Seattle then would have had to stay back 10 yards, and Barr would have had a fairly easy chance at a field goal. But that is the end of the half. 14-7 Raiders here at the Coliseum in Los Angeles.
Bob Costas back here in New York. A quick run through now the games in progress in the National Football League. In the one most of you are watching, the Raiders lead Seattle at halftime by a score of 14-7. Jim Plunkett out of the game, Mark Wilson in, directing the Raider attack. San Diego at Green Bay late in the second quarter tied at 14. 2 touchdown passes for Dan Fouts, and the same figure for Lynn Dickey of Green Bay. Atlanta leads the Rams in the third quarter at Anaheim. The Falcons up by a score of 10-7. And they are early in the third where something has to give. Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. The Oilers are 0-5, so are the Bengals. Boomer Esiason with Kenny Anderson and Turk Schoenert both hurt, directing the attack for the Bengals. A Jim Breach field goal, the only scoring. They lead it by a score of 3-0. They're in the bottom of the fourth in San Diego on homers by Leon Durham and Jody Davis. The Cubs have knocked Eric Shaw of the Padres off the mound. They lead the fifth and deciding game of the National League Championship Series 3-0. And we'll be back following these messages from your local station. Bob Costas back in New York at halftime. Let's take another look at the finals from earlier today. The Bears defeated the Saints at Soldier Field 20-7, and the story there, of course, Walter Payton. He needed 67 yards to pass Jim Brown for first place on the all-time rushing list. Several Payton family members there to see him do it. He did not disappoint them. This run early in the third quarter, 6-yard sweep to the left, took him past Jimmy Brown. At day's end, Payton had carried 32 times for 154 yards, so his total is smack at 12,400 on the nose and counting. Coincidentally, he also broke another Jim Brown record today, as it was the 59th 100-yard game of Walter Payton's career. Brown did it 58 times, Chicago 20, New Orleans 7 on an historic afternoon at Soldier Field. Meanwhile, Miami is 6-0. They clobbered the Steelers today at Three Rivers by a score of 31-7. Dan Marino on the sidelines. It was another big day for him. He threw 2 more touchdown passes. This was the second one, covered 35 yards to tight end Joe Rose. Marino now has thrown for 17 TDs this year, and he leads the National Football League in that department. The Dolphin record, as I mentioned, 6-0. They and the 49ers 49ers, who play tomorrow night against the Giants, the only unbeaten clubs left in the NFL. Denver is now 5-1. Detroit is 1-5. The Broncos win at the Silverdome in Pontiac by a score of 28-7. Dan Reeves' bunch, an opportunistic team today. They already led 7-0 in the first half when they went up 14-0 on this play. Billy Sims juggles the ball. Louis Wright knocks it free with the hit. Rulon Jones, the defensive lineman, plucks it out of the air and rumbles into the end zone. That made it 14-0. They were never headed after that. The Lions turned the ball over 8 times today, and they lose it 28-7. Big upset in Dallas. The Cardinals are 3-3. The Cowboys now 4-2. Neil Lomax threw 3 touchdown passes, and 2 of them went to Roy Green, who had better moves today than the Cowboy cheerleaders. This is the second of the 2. The first one covered 69 yards. This one good for 45. Roy Green, through the years, really has done a number against the Dallas Cowboys. They have been unable to stop him, and today the Cardinals upset Dallas 31-20. Bill McAtee, how about scores elsewhere?
All right, Bob, the Jets in Kansas City, and the Jets came from a 9-0 deficit to win it. The key statistic, Kansas City with 11 sacks a week ago didn't get to Pat Ryan once today. Joe Walton looked on as Ryan hit Mickey Schuler in the third quarter, a 15-yard touchdown pass. This turned out to be enough. Freeman McNeil over 100 yards for the 4th time in 6 weeks. Todd Blackledge completed 7 of 7 passes in a drive that pulled the Chiefs to within 1, but the Jets hang on to win it 17-16. They go now to 4-2. New England and Cleveland. New England also 4-2. The Browns went on top quickly, 16-3, but the Patriots came back late. Ron Meyer goes to the trick play in the third quarter, a flea flicker. Tony Eason off to Mosi Tutupu. Tutupu back to Eason, who throws a 42-yard touchdown pass to Stephen Starring. Later, Tony Collins would score from the 2. The Patriots win it 17-16. Sam Ratigliano's crew falls to 1-5. Washington and Indianapolis. The Redskins have now won 4 straight. It was a big day for Joe Theismann. It was a long day for the Colt mascot. Theismann threw 4 touchdown passes today, 3 to Art Monk, including this one of 47 yards. Also a good day as you watch the touchdown pass for John Riggins, just short of 100 yards, 93 yards on 19 carries, and a touchdown. The Redskins roll today, 35-7. Minnesota and Tampa Bay down in Tampa. Les Steckel has some problems with his defense. The Bucks scored 35 points today. The key play, an 8-yard touchdown by James Wilder, the fine all-purpose back. That put the game out of reach. The Vikings fall to 2-4. John McKay's Buccaneers even up now after disastrous preseason and early start at 3-3. Philadelphia and Buffalo won. Fine note, at least if you're a Buffalo fan, is that Greg Bell, the rookie running back out of Notre Dame, scored 2 touchdowns. But the Bills lose their 8th straight, dating back 2 games to last season, 27-17 against Philadelphia.
Now, a couple of items of interest regarding that game at the Hoosier Dome. First of all, the Colt mascot, a very dapper-looking individual there.
Yeah, you know, you have to think that this is a big game for Joe Theismann. Coming in, he had only 4 touchdown passes. He had been struggling. The Redskins relying a lot on John Riggins this year. He comes out and has a really big day.
Speaking of Riggins, he gains 93 yards, as you said. About 25 more, and he reaches 10,000, right?
Yeah, right.
Be about the 5th, not about exactly, the 5th man in the history of the National Football League to reach that plateau. It'll be a milestone for him. But speaking of milestones, perhaps the biggest in football history, reached today by Walter Payton, Ahmad, because that is the record which is football's equivalent of 714 home runs. That's the number that football fans know best. 12,312 yards gained by Jimmy Brown. Walter Payton goes past him today.
Very interesting point. As I was talking to Walter last week, I said, Walter, when I grew up, Jim Brown was my hero. He had to be yours. Walter said, well, I grew up in a small town in Mississippi, and we didn't see much of Cleveland. My hero was Tarzan. Now, I don't know who Tarzan was, but he made a heck of an impression on Walter.
Interesting perspective by Walter Payton. He's at 12,400, as we mentioned, and that total continues to grow. Very conceivable that he could finish somewhere around 15,000 for his career. We're not finished, however. Stay with us. NFL 84 halftime activities will continue.
Champions lead 14-7. The time of possession in the hands of the Seahawks, but the Raiders have a touchdown lead.
Both teams have turnovers, and turnovers were key in the first half. The Seahawks unable to capitalize on a couple of opportunities. Dick, they've actually been inside of Raider territory 5 times on the day and only able to get it into the end zone 1 time. Look at the yards passing. The Seahawks, very, very ineffective throwing the ball, have really not tried to throw it that much. They did get that fine shot to large it over the top of the defender.
And we'll be back at the Coliseum after these words from your local station. Jim Plunkett injured in the first quarter, and apparently will not play for the remainder of the afternoon unless in an emergency. They have only two quarterbacks, the Raiders, Mark Wilson and Plunkett. Let's go back and review the first half scoring. You could call it the Gopher Duster, the 360, and an absolute steal.
The first, of course, is Marcus Allen. He goes over the top and then underneath. You see him just pushing that ball across the goal line. And again, safety blitz coming. Good read by Christensen, who does a complete rotation, a pirouette to catch the football. And this, an absolute steal over the head of Ted Watts, a one-handed grab. Absolutely incredible catch by Steve Largent.
Two quarterbacks tuning up for the second half of action, and there are their numbers. Craig throwing very little, had only 2 completed passes and 36 yards, but the one big catch by Largent for the score. And Wilson, who had not thrown a pass all year, now in the 6th game with the injury to Plunkett, he hit on his first pass, went for 92 yards, the biggest play of this season, I would guess.
Well, a couple of big changes because of officials' calls in the first half. Of course, the 7-pointer apparently to the Seahawks as they streaked Eric Lane into the end zone, threw him the ball, called back because of holding. And then it appeared that Dave Brown thought he had touched the receiver, Marcus Allen. No whistle. Allen got up and packed another 40 yards, got down to where they set up the score.
Neither team has been able to run the football effectively, and the Stars, Franco Harris and Marcus Allen, held to 11 and 9 yards respectively.
Not much for those running backs today. We started with the emphasis on both coaches on running. Neither one can be happy at this point.
Lee Montgomery, 28, and Dokie Williams, 85, deep for the Raiders. Norm Johnson kicks it off. Second half underway. Big crowd, we'd say 80,000 plus in the Coliseum. Dokie Williams, the 20, good speed, 30, and to the 34-yard line goes the former UCLA football and track star. Now the Seahawks defense will be focusing on Mark Wilson. And Merlin, we should point out that last year Seattle, despite the fact they made it through the playoffs to the championship game of the American Conference, were 27th, next to last in the league in total defense, and this year are number 6 with basically the same personnel.
Well, they certainly are. They're playing much better, and they're doing that by eliminating plays like the one you saw with Marcus Allen. They haven't been giving up those long bombs. They haven't been giving up the easy touchdowns.
The Raiders known for their vertical game, and yet they have not thrown a touchdown pass to a wide receiver this year. Wilson, plenty of time. Malcolm Barnwell at the 46-yard line. 12 yards and a first down. Keith Simpson on the coverage.
That's a planned rollout. That's something you won't see with Plunkett in the game. But Mark Wilson is a very mobile quarterback. Has good running ability, kind of a long-legged glider. But the little fake to Marcus Allen that's got to hold the defensive line. Nash coming out, Green coming out, but enough time to get off that good sideline pattern. 1st and 10.
Marcus Allen. Somehow Allen seems to always do better in the second half. Gets about 7 yards on that carry before Shelton Robinson from North Carolina, number 57, can make the stop.
This whole Raider team has been a second half team, Dick, and they just have not played well in most of their games early on. They have come back and played better in the second half and usually done most of their scoring in the 4th quarter.
A short 4. Kenny King, first down at the Seattle 43-yard line. 5 yards for King, who played his college ball at Oklahoma.
Good mix of plays, and you'll notice too that Mark Wilson giving us a little riffle there as he started with the pass, has come back quickly with 2 runs to get their first down of this drive, and first drive of the second half, very important, kind of sets the tempo for the second half.
Barnwell in motion, going deep for Branch. Excellent coverage by the Seahawks. Harris 44, and with help from Kenny Easley apparently back there. No, it was Keith Simpson.
Yep. Simpson coming over from the corner position, and John Harris pitching from the safety position. Closed in on Branch. Both got their hands apparently on that football, but Mark Wilson has no trouble throwing that ball deep. He's got a powerful arm.
And such an easy, fluent motion. It seems so effortless. Wilson has set 11 NCAA records before graduating from BYU, which has become a quarterback factory. So many outstanding players. Simpson and Easley, and it was Easley who had his hands on the ball. And Simpson a little slow getting up.
Oh, that might be painful. You notice that Todd Christensen very slow getting up. He knew that there was an injury on that play. He's very slow getting up.
Also a penalty on the play against the Raiders.
Let's pick it up as we go back. Mark dropping straight back, gets good protection from the offensive line. And watch the end of the play right here. It looked like he fell across. It looks like Christensen falls across the back of the legs, and you see it right there, falling across Simpson's legs, and it's that knee that was kind of locked in underneath.
So they attend to Keith Simpson, the veteran
Jim
quarterback.
Weitzel, the trainer, out quickly to check Simpson, and he's got that. Looks like he's moving that leg, getting it going, but. Oh, those injuries are so costly to a team that's finally gotten going. I mean, you don't want to have to exchange those defensive backs because the coordination between those people and the recognition is so very important. Now they're checking that knee.
That's when they grab that ankle, that's to test how much movement there is in the knee, apparently.
Well, certainly can be. You want to see if the joint is tight.
Terry Taylor, the rookie from Southern Illinois, the #1 draft pick of the Seahawks, will take Simpson's place at that left corner.
They have high hopes for Terry Taylor, but he is not a veteran player. And you can bet that on the sideline, the Raiders will say, let's go and find out how good he is. We'll do it quickly.
Well, he had 20 career interceptions at Southern Illinois for the Salukis and 5 block kicks as a senior. That's why we said keep an eye on him. He has a real penchant for blocking, especially punts. Just a minute and a half gone in the second half. 14-7 Raiders.
Today's game is brought to you by the new Chrysler Corporation. We don't want to be the biggest. We just want to be the best. By the people of AT&T Communications. We're thinking about your business in ways you never thought of. And by Miller High Life, the best beer for the best time of the day. Welcome to Miller Time.
Well, that sad picture, as the injury to Keith Simpson will require that vehicular assistance back to the dressing room for x-rays. The knee injury is the word from the field.
Dr. Rosenfeld of the Raiders also out to help it. You'll see it right there. Just the finale of it as Christensen, twisting for that ball, came back across the legs of Keith Simpson. And one of the things that none of us who love this game like to see is one of the players coming off the field immobile in that way, because that would indicate that at least there is grave concern about the injury. You don't take risks. You don't take risks these days. You used to just drag those players off the field. Now they'll go in quickly to x-ray machines inside the locker room, and they'll know the seriousness of that injury. But it is not a good sign.
13:24 remaining in the third quarter. 14-7 the Raiders. They were penalized on the play for holding, so it's 2nd down and 20 at the Raider 47-yard line. Mark Wilson for the injured Jim Plunkett at quarterback. He has both Barnwell and Cleo Montgomery in, along with Cliff Branch, 3 wide receivers. This is Montgomery on a little reverse. Did not fool the Seahawks a bit. Greg Gaines and Jacob Green made the stop. Gaines, number 56, for the injured Michael Jackson, who's out for 4 to 6 weeks at linebacker with a knee injury.
Well, they don't give Terry Taylor an easy start. They put him on one-on-one, ISO, on Malcolm Barnwell. There are the key injuries. Warner, of course, out, and that was a devastating blow. They built the offense around him. Paul John, the leading receiver and the fastest of the wide receivers, went down with an injury. The good news, Jackson will be out 4 to 6 weeks, and then he'll be back. And, of course, you just saw the injury to Keith Simpson. Crippling blows for this Seahawk team.
3rd and long. Wilson to Montgomery, and Simpson knocked away by Easley, who streaked cross field to make the play. So the Raiders will have to punt it away.
Kenny Easley, an impact player with good speed. In fact, you put a decimal between the 4 and the 5. He is marked down with 4.5 speed in a 40-yard dash. He's not only one of those people that will come over with good speed, but he'll also put his helmet on you. He's a hitter.
And wears those low-cut shirts. Raymond Guy to kick it.
Did I see him in Flashdance?
There's Easley at the 10. 10 men on the line of scrimmage. And good blocking by the Raiders. Fair catch Easley, lets it go. And it takes a Seattle bounce for the touchback.
Kenny Easley coming up as if to catch that ball about the 10-yard line, doing some play acting.
Timeout, 14-7. World champions leading here in Los Angeles. 14-7, the Raiders lead the Seahawks, and I know you're from that part of the country, and I'm on my way up to the homecoming for Wyoming State up in Jackson Hole, and going to do a little riding. I thought maybe you might give me a little tip.
Well, I'll take your long underwear. It's getting a little cold up there, and the snow is falling, and the leaves are changing. It's got to be beautiful.
I've got this new invention. I wonder if it'll catch on a saddle horn both in front and in back.
Well, make sure you don't catch on it. I'll tell you that.
The first down for Seattle at their 20-yard line. Craig to the rookie Morris, caught for a loss. Mike Davis, who had the key fumble force and recovery in the first half that led to what is the go-ahead score. We have paused briefly for station identification from Los Angeles. This is the NBC television network.
WTOV-TV, Steubenville, Wheeling.
Dick Enberg, Merlin Olsen on a very warm, not as humid now, a nice breeze coming in from the west. Afternoon temperature over 90 degrees down on the floor, a crowd of some 80,000. Raiders lead 14-7 early in the third quarter. 2nd and 11 Seattle. Craig. It was Howie Long that forced him right into the grips of Matt Millen.
Howie Long showing us some great quickness as he came around the outside. Looked like Robert Pratt actually was blocking on Howie as he came around the outside. Tremendous pressure. Blitz was on inside. The Raider defense playing much better today than they did last week in Denver, in particular against the wide plays. The Broncos hurt them with the sweeps last week. Seattle has done that a couple of times, but as you saw in the play before this one, they were able to shut it down effectively. And out of the shotgun, Craig has got to throw the football.
Well, the Seahawks have really thrown in obvious situations. They did get in the second quarter to throw on first down a few times. Under pressure. Almost thrown into a pack. It's an incomplete pass, and Howie Long was the man who charged through to pressure Craig.
And it looked like that football was actually stuck over there between Pickell and Sean Jones. It looked like the ball was actually stuck in there as Howie continues to pressure from the outside, just hammering. Give you a chance to take a peek at it. There's Pickell inside. He's getting double teamed. That's Pratt and Bush. There's the pressure coming from the backside. Howie came all the way around. Look at that football, actually rejected by Pickell, 71. Hit him on the inside of the arm and dropped to the ground.
Well, the Raiders should get good field position. They have 10 men on the line of scrimmage.
Short, very short.
Greg Pruitt, he bobbled one that led to the Seattle touchdown in the second quarter, and he misjudged that one a shade, but takes it at the 47 of the Seahawks, a 35-yard punt. For that Chargers-Kansas City game, it'll be Cincinnati-New England, Houston-Miami here on NBC. Colts at Philadelphia, the Jets play at Cleveland, and Pittsburgh, San Francisco. And of course, it'll be a sports doubleheader, NFL football, and the World Series. The Cubs lead San Diego 3-0 in the 6th inning of that decisive 5th game in San Diego. First down, Wilson to Marcus. Now Merlin, he's almost used the threat of his passing talent as a weapon as a runner. It looked as if he was setting himself maybe to stop and throw, and everyone relaxes a bit, and boom.
That only works if you have thrown the football, and Marcus has thrown it.
San Diego in a back-and-forth game, leading by a touchdown at Green Bay in the third quarter.
Marcus, slow getting up, has eased over to the sideline. Looked like he took a pretty healthy shot there.
Cincinnati leading Houston in the battle of the have-nots, 10-3. It is second down and 2. Greg Pruitt did not make the first down. Keith Butler and friends on the stop.
Good aggressive play by the Seahawks defense. They were able to shut Pruitt off very quickly on that play. And the defensive rankings, and we alluded to this earlier. The fact that the Seahawks defense ranked overall 27th.
That's 27th in the NFL. Excuse me, Merlin.
Yeah, that is NFL.
And it's 6th in the NFL this year, 5th in the AFC. At the 39, third and a short 3. And Frank Hawkins has the first down at the 32-yard line before John Harris could come up from safety and make the stop.
Frank Hawkins digging a little bit of the Coliseum turf out from underneath his face mask as he heads back to the huddle. Really a power runner, not built like a fullback, but employed in this offense, often in the fullback position.
Atlanta and the Rams in quite a battle at Anaheim, 24-21. The visitors from Georgia lead that game now in the fourth quarter. 8:51 remaining in the third quarter here in the Coliseum, and Marcus paying the price again. Bruce Schultz, 58, and Greg Gaines, the two outside linebackers, pinching in.
The Raiders now trying to utilize that big, strong offensive line. They just hammer on you, and that begins to take a toll, especially on a hot day like today. They're running in and behind on that play, but still good reaction from the Seahawks defense, shutting it down to a 1-yard gain. Let's see if Mark Wilson goes to the pass on this play.
Second and 9. It's Marcus Allen again, and Allen, it's plays like that and the hammering that he takes that he says, I'm serious when I say I would not mind. I don't mind carrying the ball, but I wouldn't mind being a Charlie Tabor, who's a running back that moves out and becomes a wide receiver. He said, I thought about that for a while. I think my career would last a lot longer if they made a wide receiver out of me. He has quite a talented brother, you know, who has led Cal State Fullerton to a 6-0 record. His brother Damon's the quarterback on that unbeaten team. His brother drafted by the Tigers, a fine baseball player as well. Marcus said, my advice, baseball.
You knew that was coming.
Third and 4. Barnwell, and a first down at the 20-yard line. A little delay, and the wide receiver over the middle for a first down.
Now, we mentioned that they would test Terry Taylor, the rookie, early. Barnwell had shown him his speed on a couple of occasions, ran him off lightly with his speed, and then came across the middle. A chance to see it here. Just a little slant pattern, but look at how much room the rookie gave Barnwell on that play. Barnwell knew exactly what to do with it as he pulls it down for a first down. And Dick, important to note here that Wilson is calling his own plays as Plunkett does. And that's one of the few teams in the NFL still allowing the quarterbacks to do that.
Hawkins. Thick-legged Hawkins stepped out of bounds back at the 15-yard line. He is a load to bring down, built so close to the ground. Hawkins at 210, but only 5 feet 9 inches tall, and that might be exaggerating it a bit. He's really a fire plug. Well, it took a while for the fans of Los Angeles to really embrace this Raider franchise and its move south. But this indication of the crowd today tells us that Los Angeles is very much in support of this team. Hawkins again to the 13-yard line, where it'll be third down and about 4.
Dick, I played here for 15 years, and 5 of them under Chuck Knox here. I don't remember this many people in the Coliseum for any games during that 15 years. You were here for a good part of that doing the broadcast.
Well, part of that was they had what they called the Reeves Bowl after Dan Reeves, the owner, where the peristyle end they had the temporary bleachers, and I think 76,000.
We did have some capacity crowds. You're right. We couldn't have handled a crowd this large.
Nope.
But they have got them here today, and they are very vocal.
Big play for both teams. 3rd and about 3.5.
Blitz.
Cliff Branch had his man whipped. It was the rookie Taylor. Boy, how clever the offenses are. Now here you have the rookie cornerback, and how long did it take to devise a scheme to get Cliff Branch on young Taylor?
Oh, and Branch is such a smart receiver. Look at him. His feet are going to slip out as he tries to plant right there. You saw that left foot right at the last second. He had Terry Taylor beaten and was coming back to the football, which is a characteristic of this Raider offense. But his foot went out from underneath him. The ball drops harmlessly to the ground, and now Barr will see if he can get 3 points.
30-yard attempt. Blocked by Joe Nash, and the Seahawks have done it again. Joe Nash, number 72, blocked it cleanly. And you don't count those block kicks in the takeaways. They have 27 takeaways, plus now their 3rd blocked kick of the year.
Well, we gave Joe Nash a little call early on, and here he is right in the center of your picture. Watch Joe Nash powering in from the inside as he goes right over the top of the center, slides in over the guard, and goes high in the air. Boy, what a beautiful job. Just perfect job of getting his hands up on that football.
So Seattle stays within a touchdown of the Raiders thanks to Joe Nash.
On this play, you'll see Jacob Green right here driving to the outside, and then it's Nash on the inside taking advantage of that to slide in for the block. Now watch it right here as we speed up the action. Green takes the guard out and makes room for Nash, and you see Nash sliding across, getting away from him on that play. Might be Mosbar, I believe. Hard to pick up the number, and you see the finale as they go in and pick up the football, and it's Seattle's ball.
So a 30-yard field goal attempt, a relatively easy chance, nullified by Nash's block. Here's the rookie. Oh, it's Franco Harris, 34, and then the rookie, 43, the reverse numbers. Harris this time, who has basically been shut out today. Walter Payton, in case you have missed it, those few of you who might not have heard the news, easily passed Jim Brown's mark and is now the all-time rusher in NFL history. That game against New Orleans today as the Bears won it. Beautiful sight here at the home of the Olympic Games in 1984. The Coliseum, still colorfully decorated. Flags. Many of the countries still atop the rim line of the Coliseum. There's the rookie Morse, and he doesn't get much either as Rod Martin the first to make contact. 5 minutes left in the quarter in Los Angeles, now to New York.
All right, Dick, in Green Bay, the Chargers have taken the lead over the Packers after Gilbert intercepted Lynn Dickey. Dan Fouts threw this 9-yard touchdown pass to Ernest Jackson out of Texas A&M. It is 21-14 now in the 3rd quarter.
So the tough American West Conference, Chargers trying to stay right with the leaders. On 3rd and 7, Craig hitting Steve Largent, who skids to a first down at the 45-yard line. Mike Haynes covers him. 12 yards is Craig, and one of the few times going underneath that defense to the shorter pass.
Largent, a master really of working the short areas, and particularly effective against the zone. You don't get much zone when you play the Raiders. They're mostly a man-to-man team, but last week he was working predominantly against zone defenses. He's such a smart receiver. He just finds those open areas. There he found some openings even though he was covered man-to-man.
First down, Seattle. Going long for the rookie Turner, and almost intercepted by Lester Hayes, who had it played perfectly.
We've heard very little from Darryl Turner, who is a real speedster, has good downfield speed, but has not learned yet how to utilize that speed. Lester Hayes read him very easily, and Hayes out in front of him with his own speed. Watch Hayes here. He's playing the ball. He's a receiver here, just off his hands. Watch him as he takes a little push there. A little leg beater. I think he was enjoying that. So, and of course he did his job. Read the receiver, then read the football, and knocked it away. Actually made a chance at had a chance at an interception at the end of it.
Craig now is 3 for 9 passing, 36 yards, 1 touchdown to Largent, and that was the great play by Largent, a one-handed catch. 2nd and 10. Good protection. This side wide open is Largent, and a first down at the 40, and Lester Hayes makes the pop, but Largent has 15 more yards, make it 14.
Here's Lester Hayes right here. Now Largent will be coming down out of the outside of your screen to work man on man. Hayes will tell you that Largent has the most dangerous feet of any receiver, and you see it right there. He turned him around. Absolutely turned him around on that play. You don't see that very often against Lester Hayes. Made him do a complete twist.
They're the longest streaks in history. Carmichael still active with the Cowboys. Of course, the streak is not, but Steve Largent now 97 games in a row. And who's to say the way he's going that he may be the eventual record holder. Randall Morris to the 28-yard line, and it's that kind of running play against the Raiders that really has the Los Angeles franchise concerned the last 2-3 weeks. Let's go quickly to New York.
All right, Dick, in the battle of winless teams in Cincinnati, the Bengals have broken a 3-3 tie. Boomer Esiason and a 3-yard touchdown quarterback draw. The Bengals now lead the Oilers in the 3rd quarter by a score of 10-3. Back to the Coliseum.
Thank you, Bill McAtee. Here at the Coliseum, Seattle marching toward a possible tying score. First down at the Raider 28-yard line. Randall Morris. And he's down at about the 23, but almost 5 yards on the first down carry. Bob Nelson from Nebraska, number 51 on the tackle.
Nelson and
Randall Morris showing us a little shaking action. He's got good lateral movement for a running back. Of course, is able to use that shifting action to create a little extra room for himself. Knox, traditionally a very conservative coach. You really feel his presence in this game. The Seahawks throwing the ball sparingly, trying to lean on the running game.
2nd and 5. David Hughes, the only setback. He gets the ball in a big hole. And David Hughes is to the 11-yard line, and a first down for Seattle. Van McElroy, the last black jersey in the way of a Hughes touchdown.
Chance to watch the play develop. Now watch the defenders on this side. It looks like they faked the ball to the outside, and as the defenders react to that, here's the hole developing inside right there. Look how they cut off the backside pursuit. Hughes did a good job of getting inside, but an excellent job. I imagine that would be the center, Blair Bush, cutting off the pursuit on the backside.
Veteran Lyle Alzado slowed up Hughes to stop him shy of the 10. Randall Morris breaking a tackle to the 5-yard line, and he's only 183 pounds, but he's shown us on a couple of occasions very strong leg drive.
6 yards on that play. There's Morris.
He has almost as much yardage as, well, that would probably match the rest of the team's total.
And looking at it early, well, it was Eric Lane, the running star last week, over 100 yards in the game against the Vikings, but Morris here in this ball game has quickly established himself. Many of those yards, in fact, a high percentage coming here in the second half.
2nd and 4, 5 yards from a touchdown. David Hughes to about the 3, smothered by the Raiders short of the first down by about 2 yards at the end of the 3rd quarter. So when we come back to the Coliseum, it'll be Seattle just a few yards from a tie. First, these words from your local station. The 4th quarter begins on a Cloudless day in Los Angeles. Temperature on the field 90 degrees plus. Chuck Knox, in his 12th year of the NFL, second with Seattle, has over 100 victories. You don't win many when you only get 159 total yards, almost 100 less than the Raiders. But Knox, with his conservative ground chuck offense, has kept time and possession, and it's 3rd and 2 at the 3.
Big down here outside to Hughes. He's got a first.
No, he doesn't. Oh, I don't think he does, as Bill Packel not only stopped him but pushed him back.
Well, let's mark it the far side. No, you're right, Dick. It's got to go clear down inside the 1. Now, this is going to be a tough call for Chuck. Going to be on about the 2-yard line.
That's on the 1.5. And you have to get to the 1 for a first down.
Here it is. Little toss out to David Hughes. Matt Millen, number 55, out there to get a piece of him. And the polishing job done right there by Van McElroy.
Seahawks are going to go for it.
Well, I said he was conservative. He's certainly not being conservative here. He's going to throw it all on a roll of the dice. Let's see where they go and who they go with.
It's about a ½ yard for the first down, 1.5 yards for the touchdown.
Outside.
Oh, what an effort by David Hughes for what might be the tying touchdown. Hughes with an extraordinary effort to get into the end zone.
He just refused to go down. It looked like McElroy, number 26, went underneath. Submarine. McMillan, 55, got a piece of his leg, but he just kept his balance and kept his strength. And Knox is saying, wow.
He's saying more than that.
Let the pressure off on that one for the backside again. And there you saw it looked like he was down. Absolutely second effort, Dick.
Norm Johnson now, this for a tie. Bad snap, and he got it through. Jim Zorn getting the ball down, and we're even at 14.
We've got a penalty flag down, though. You see Robert Pratt on the sideline. Let's see who the penalty is against. They may have to kick it again.
No, apparently it's against the Raiders. Will tack it onto the ensuing.
It'll go on the kickoff.
Line up in the neutral zone. The point is good, and we get a 5-yard penalty on a kickoff.
David Hughes is from Honolulu. He's taken more than his share of hula dances, and looked like he was fighting the surf here. He had one wave, and he said, no, you're not going to block me, and he kicked his way into the end zone. Aloha, David Hughes, and Seattle, and the Raiders are tied at 14. So the Seahawks, they beat the Raiders twice in the regular season last year. They've been conservative, but that was the first drive where the running game seemed to work for them.
They really have not been able to get it tracking, but there were 9 runs out of 12 plays on that drive. They were able to get it into the end zone, tie up this ball game, and their philosophy of trying to get that running game established. And Chuck said, we've got to be patient. They were patient. It pays off here in the fourth quarter.
Norm Johnson roots it up high. Dokie Williams at the 10, 20, and stopped at the 26-yard line. Some good running by Dokie Williams. So the Raiders have the ball, a tie game in Los Angeles. Let's check on things in New York.
All right, Dick, you've got a good one going on in the Coliseum. There's a good one going on up in Green Bay. The Chargers and the Packers are tied for the 3rd time. Lynn Dickey with a swing pass to James Lofton. Lofton does a nice job running with the football. This set up a touchdown as Ellis scored on a 4-yard run, so they're locked up at 21.
So 2 of the top teams in the West, the Chargers and the Raiders, and, well, make it 3, the Seahawks, all in a tie game at the moment.
Dick, good news. Keith Simpson is back in the game.
Goodness, he thought that was going to be disastrous, and that nearly was for the Raiders as Kenny Easley had his eyes on a cut in front of Christensen interception.
Well, you saw Simpson leaving the field on a vehicle as he was stretched out, obviously in pain, but you get a feeling for the toughness of these athletes as he not only returns to the field, but he's back in action. He's out there at his regular safety position, and there he is. That's got to be great news for his family, I know, who are concerned back in Seattle, and great news for Seattle fans and his coaches as well.
So Simpson back at that corner, an extra defensive back in. Terry Taylor on 2nd and 10. Wilson to Barnwell. Oh, what a pop at the 30-yard line after about a 4-yard gain. Keith Simpson was the man, and you could hear that crack all the way upstairs, and we're a long way from home base up in the press box.
He'll put some thumbs on you. That one thing you try to do when you play this Seahawk defense is to keep their nickel package. In other words, their special defenses off the field. They'll use 5, 6, 7, and even 8 defensive backs. And there you see 2 defensive backs working in tandem. Simpson getting the real pop initially.
You did say 8.
I said 8.
Defensive backs.
I said 8. I don't know that we've seen it this year, but last year they used as many as 8 defensive backs. That's all they have. They said, all you guys go on the field. That's 3 defensive linemen, 8 defensive backs.
3rd and 6. Wilson flushed out of the pocket. Now throwing for Marcus Allen, who gets the ball. Marcus Allen at the 50-yard line. He's done it again.
Allen and Christensen. Actually, Christensen made the tackle on Allen as he collided, both of them going for the football. Greg Gaines down there, 24. Terry Jackson down there. Wilson under pressure will shift over to the left side of your screen right here. Look at Nash coming in on him. Lofts the ball over the top. Now watch the action here. That's Marcus taking the ball right out of Todd Christensen's hands. Todd knocked him down. And finally Moyer, number 21, comes up. One of the other defenders put the clamp on him, but 1st and 10.
This is Kenny King trapped in the backfield, and Schultz makes the stop with Gaines helping out. There's Bruce Schultz, ex-Longhorn from Texas, a number 2 pick a couple of years ago, and he's developing into quite an outstanding outside linebacker with that size and range.
He is one who leaves the field in this situation. Actually, 3 linebackers out. We'll have 7 defensive backs in this situation.
Well, let's say they used to call it the nickel when you had 5, and then the dime when you had 6. I don't know what you give to 7 and 8. You run out of currency.
We actually have 6 in here because they've inserted Mike Fanning, an extra defensive lineman. So it'll be 4 defensive linemen and 1 defensive linebacker, and the rest are backs.
Going deep. And Malcolm Barnwell can't get there, working one-on-one against Dave Brown. I guess the word is now we get from the Seattle bench that when they go to the 8-backs, they work in lira. They get
can't count that high, right?
3rd down and 12.5 for Mark Wilson. We should, in case you're just joining us, Jim Plunkett, injured in the 1st quarter, did not appear to be serious, but a muscle pull stomach, and has not played since. Wilson, his first serious duty of this season, had not thrown a pass until today.
Has thrown well in this ball game, but has not been as successful here in the 2nd half. I think the Seahawks defense may have adjusted well to him at halftime.
Quite a skirmish, a fight high up in the stands at the closed end of the Coliseum. And a pretty good battle down on the field as well. And this will be against whom?
I believe one of the Raiders moved in that offensive line. At least that was what the Seahawks defense was trying to say.
Boy, there is really a wild fight going on up in the high reaches of the closed end of the Coliseum.
Now they got some policemen up there trying to bail them out now.
Start number 79 on the offense.
Bruce Davis ticketed with motion. Now those offensive linemen, once they're locked in position, they can't even move up off of that position, or they're called for being offside.
So 3rd down between 17 and 18 yards as Branch goes left. Barnwell to the right. Christensen, always the man to watch, is on the right side. Backs are in the pattern. Fumble. And Seattle has done it again. They have it at the 29. Mike Fanning, the former Ram and Detroit Lion, has the football.
I think they're going to bring it back, though. I think the official may be saying that the ball was down, Dick, so they may not get their turnover as they had felt they had it there. I believe they're pulling it back.
Look at Chuck Knox. Total disbelief on the far sideline.
Well, it will give you a chance to watch at home. Good pressure. They faked the blitz. They gave Wilson the look of a blitz, and there he's hit twice. Oh, that's a fumble. That is a fumble. That ball is loose and out of his hands before he got anywhere near the ground. Nash, the man who nailed him.
The only grasp is when he got hit and the fumble occurred. So the Raiders get a break. Guy with flags all over the place. Can he easily fair catch at the 19-yard line?
Over a penalty marker.
Van Drive going to haul them all back, I believe. Well, they're saying it's against the Seahawks, perhaps someone offside.
And with the ball at the 19-yard line, that's not a bad kick.
No,
Defense was offside. Decline a penalty. First down the other way.
Well, you put them almost 80 yards away from the goal line. You don't think it's warm down there? Look at Chuck Knox. He's got a good lather going down there.
The Raiders, the Seahawks, even at 14 with 11.5 minutes remaining. Now, the Raiders are very proud of their tradition that they are the winningest sports team. Take all the sports, professional sports, and they have the best record over the last 20 years plus. And yet, Seattle has played them dead even in the regular season.
They just match up well, and they have played these Raiders tough at home and in Seattle. 2 of the 4 Raider losses regular season last year were against this Seattle team.
Seattle starts on its 19 instead of on the Raider 30 where that fumble occurred, but was not allowed. Randall Morris gains about 6 yards, and that's the way the offenses have been running against the Raiders. Chargers did it, Denver did it, and now Seattle starting wide and then cutting upfield.
Randall Morris with speed to take advantage of that as he gets outside and then hops up inside, and there you see it, dead even. They're dead even, 6-6 in the series, and here they are, knotted up, 14 all.
74 yards now for the rookie Randall Morris. Dave Craig, 2nd down and 5. Nice running, even though he gained but 4 yards, as Morris showing the quickness of feet as he darted right then left, and Jones and Pickell made the tackle for the Raiders.
And that's really, in a way, what makes Kurt Warner such a tough runner, his ability to change direction so rapidly. You're seeing a little of that out of Randall Morris here. He gets him up tight, 3rd and very short. An extra big body or 2 in there. They've had to go to Millard as an extra tight end because of the injury to Charlie Young.
A roar in the background as the baseball score has been posted. Padres 6, Cubs 3 in the bottom of the 7th inning in San Diego. Flag down, and it appeared that the runner Hughes was stopped short of the first down. Howie Long and Rod Martin collaborating.
We've got a penalty, and I think they were stopped short. One of the early indications is that it may go against the Raiders. Perhaps someone into the neutral zone too early. Let's let Ben sort it out. Yes.
Well, you know those penalties, don't you?
Well, you know when you spend about 15 years of your life down there in the trenches.
Offside number 26. That's 5 and a first.
Oh, wow. And you believe it, a safety offsides. Now that's the one that's hard to figure.
Well, he's not used to being up there.
Van McElroy pushing on the outside, and he's an aggressive player. He's just coming up there to try and do his job. That's costly, though. You have him stop. You've got a chance to force him to punt here, and now they wind up with a first down.
Chuck Knox, NFL Coach of the Year with the Rams in '73, Coach of the Year with Buffalo in '80, and Coach of the Year with Seattle last year. Big defensive play, and Rod Martin, the All-Pro, has the sack. 4th of the game for the Raiders.
The problem started inside. Bill Pickell breaking the pocket. Rod Martin coming from the outside. Nelson blitzing from the inside. And it was just a jailbreak. Everybody coming loose. Look at the room there for Nelson all by himself up the middle. Now they finally get Nelson with a block there. But as Craig rolls to the outside, he runs right into the arms of Rod Martin. Big loss.
Big loss, and Dave Craig wears the totals on his uniform. 17, a -17 for Craig and the Seahawks, a la Rod Martin's outside rush. 2nd down and 27. Randall Morris darting out to the 24-yard line as he obviously having his best game as a pro running back and a chance at a 100-yard afternoon.
Well, it certainly is important, but As Al Davis said so curtly to me last week, he said the only stat I'm worried about is who wins and loses the game. And you can throw all the 300-yard games and the 100-yard rushers into a hat. Right now, Knox is worried about getting the football up the field and not giving the Raiders a chance to do their trick offensively and get it in the end zone.
Yeah, we hate to harp on the one call, but the Seahawks should have been almost in field goal range on the fumble by Wilson that was not allowed. Craig. That'll be short of the first down to Dwight Scales, who was just activated by the Seattle Seahawks. Been with the Rams and Giants, Chargers, and now Seattle. Played for Knox when he was the head coach of the Rams. But it's short of the first down, brings up 4th and about 9.
I think they were just trying to get a little more field position, expecting to have to kick that ball away, not being greedy. Again, very conservative game plan by the Seattle Seahawks, and I guess it's kind of like a golfer trying to swing within himself. They're not trying to do the things they can't do. They have been hurt by injuries. They're doing a good job of getting things done here today, Dick.
Instead of forcing a pass that might be intercepted, now they have good field position for the punt by West. 10-man rush. High kick to Pruitt. Fair catch. And the Raiders have it at the 23-yard line.
That's West's best kick of the day.
42 yards, no return. 7 minutes, 41 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. It's tied up at 14. Seattle's offensive line coach, and he's the oldest assistant coach in the NFL, 65 years young, Ray Prohaska.
Well, they were just doing some diagramming on the sideline, and they were drawing that play, actually, the blitz that they were not able to block, and figuring out how they'll pick it up on the next series if it comes at them again.
Raiders ball on the punt at the 25, Los Angeles territory. It's 14 all, 7:41 remaining. Oops. 77, Jeff Bryant charging into the backfield, and the offense pulled him offside. Gives us a chance to remind you this telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Los Angeles Raiders and the National Football League is prohibited.
I talked to Bruce Davis about Jeff Bryant. He said he has a very, very quick inside move, and I'm sure that's what he was worried about, and he started in just a little too soon to try and shut it off.
At the 20, 1st and 15. Wilson under some pressure. There's Christensen. Hit at the 35 by Bruce Schultz. I believe he's got the first down. 15 yards for Christensen. But even on that play, Bruce Schultz, as he made the tackle, you can see how the Seahawks are always tackling the football.
Stripping at the football, trying to shake it loose. Look at the numbers on Christensen. 46 yards. That's the same number he wears, and 1 TD on the day. That a very, very exciting, full twisting shot into the end zone.
Marcus Allen. And he drives out to the 42-yard line. Shelton Robinson and Paul Moyer made the tackle.
Dick, if you try and climb down into the mind of defensive coordinator Tom Catlin, his great concern facing these Raiders is the fact that they can come at you from so many directions. They can bring a Marcus Allen at you either as a receiver or as a runner. In that case, they can hit you outside quickly. They can throw the ball deep. They have speed to go downfield. They can do a lot of things, and you've got to be ready to match whatever they throw at you.
Marcus Allen hit in the backfield at the 42. Jacob Green, #1 pick out of Texas A&M. It was a teammate and a roommate of Curtis Dickey. We understand Dickey injured the Indianapolis Colts stellar running back today.
Yeah, you get a feeling for the involvement of this crowd. Very noisy crowd. I don't think I've seen a Raider crowd this noisy in a long time. Good play by the Seahawks defense. We talked about their matching wits with the Raider offense. They won that particular matchup. This one's more crucial as it's 3rd down.
Hawkins and Pruitt. No, it's Allen behind Wilson. Going for Marcus Allen. 25-20, and Marcus Allen has a touchdown. 58 yards, and the Raiders lead.
The blitz was on. They were coming after Wilson. Good pickup by this Raiders offense. And now with Marcus Allen singled up one-on-one on Sheldon Robinson, no chance. Robinson knows he does not have enough speed to stay with Marcus Allen. That's just a foregone conclusion.
Beautiful throw by Wilson. Caught Allen on the dead run. And the extra point is good. So with 5.5 minutes remaining, the Raiders lead by a touchdown.
Marcus Allen all by himself. Watch him here. Just a little hesitation. Now slightly to the outside. Sheldon Robinson making his mistake early, thinking that Allen was going to go outside. That's not even a fair race.
And 32 seconds left. The Raiders have the lead 21-14. Marcus Allen with a 58-yard catch and run, as Allen has accounted for 209 of the 267 yards for the Raider offense today. There's the attendance, 80,929 tickets sold. About 3,000 people didn't use them. Excellent crowd in Los Angeles, and they've seen a fine game. Zachary Dixon. And he gets only to the 18-yard line. Downfield was Derek Jensen, the captain of the special teams for the Raiders.
Chuck Knox and his offense have been so conservative through much of this ball game. They're going to have to take the wraps off of it. They're down by 7. You see Craig coming onto the field. They're 82.5 yards away from that pay dirt at the other end of the field.
Tim Plunkett, a bystander since the first quarter. Wilson, now the quarterback, just as Plunkett was injured and against Seattle did not play well last year in the first game in a defeat. Wilson took over. Remember, he then played at Dallas and beat the Cowboys, and he got hurt. Plunkett returned, took the team to the Super Bowl win. Flag down, and so is Craig. Howie Long again.
And it's not only a sack, but there's also a call on the play of holding. Steve August, I believe, will be ticketed on the play.
4th sack for Howie Long.
Offensive holding number 76. Decline the penalty. It's 2nd down.
So Steve August, that right tackle, with his hands full.
Watch it right here. Look at the hands of the offensive lineman. Watch him take on Howie right here. Gets a handful of Howie's jersey and then dives to the ground. Howie doesn't stop, bounces up off the ground, and keeps coming to make the sack. But they also add the insult of the penalty on top of it.
Looked like a guy coming out of a trap door. Craig saying, where are you coming from? 2nd down and about 20. Raiders lead 21-14, 5 minutes left in the game. Down the middle, intercepted! Rod Martin, touchdown! Of those 12 interceptions, 4 for touchdowns.
Tremendous heat on Dave Craig. Watch number 53. Martin dropping back, zone, reading the blockers coming across, or the receivers coming across, anticipates that pattern and just dropped in right in front of the receiver, and there was nobody home in front of him as he walked into the end zone for the touchdown.
14 yards, the try for point. Good job by Mark Wilson.
Great hold.
So, Rod Martin, 4 touchdowns by interception. They played over 50 minutes to a 14-all tie, and in 19 seconds, the Raiders have another 14. 7 accountable to Rod Martin. What a defensive play he made.
Well, and that's what a big play defense can do for you. Pressure defense. Both these teams play pressure defense. You've seen the result in turnovers today, and here in just a few seconds you saw the payoff with a defensive touchdown.
Chris Barr to kick it off. And Seattle will take it at the 20-yard line. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. We welcome those of you who have seen the Oilers and the Bengals here on NBC. A 14-all tie until just seconds ago, when in 19 seconds the Raiders have scored 2 touchdowns. This one on Rod Martin's alert read defensively, a 14-yard score. 53 Martin.
Almost a sucker play. Martin read the pattern early, delayed slightly, and then cut in front of the receiver, walking all by himself into the end zone. And we have a new quarterback, Jimmy Zorn, off the bench.
Jim Zorn, like Craig, a free agent. Dallas picked him as a free agent out of Cal Poly Pomona, the starter for most of his previous 8 years. Lost his job to Craig last season. Out of the shotgun. 5 minutes left. Incomplete to the rookie Darrell Turner, Michigan State #2 draft. Let's go to New York for this update.
All right, Dick, Dan Fouts has been masterful this afternoon in Green Bay. Over 320 yards, 3 touchdown passes. He marched the Chargers down to the 1. Ernest Jackson goes in from there, his 2nd touchdown. 31-21, the Chargers starting to open it up now against the Packers.
Well, the West, Kansas City lost to the Jets, but other than that, Denver has won. They're 5-1. The winner of this one will be 5-1. The loser drops to 4-2. Should San Diego prevail, they would be 4-2. Still no losing teams of the 5 here in the West. Zorn. Intercepted. A brilliant play by Mike Haynes. Wait a minute. It's Otis McKinney, 23, not Haynes, 22. A flag is down, however, in the secondary. They might negate that one.
Byron Walker, 89, the receiver. That did look like Mike Haynes. A great athletic move. You see Ed Bailey signaling to the Raiders side of the field, saying it's penalty on the Raider defense. Great juggling interception as he cut across. An indication of the depth on this Raider squad. Knox said it very simply.
Illegal contact, #23. That's a 5-yard penalty. First down.
I guess you can't blame someone else for taking the interception away from him if they ticket you. But Knox said it very simply. He said the Raiders are the best team in football, period. I guess they don't have to prove that. They won the Super Bowl last year, didn't they?
Yeah, look at what he did. The great speed, those fine outside receivers for Kansas City, and then they did the same to Green Bay. I mean, they've taken the best. They play them one-on-one, Hayes and Haynes, and best cornerbacks, and that makes everyone else better. First down. Zorn going long. But Turner didn't look for the ball. I don't know how long he was going to run before he looked for the ball, but he was already 60 yards downfield and still wasn't looking.
Well, I'll tell you, Mike Davis is kicking himself. Chance for him to intercept on this play. Turner, the man streaking down the field, has good sliding, gliding kind of speed. They liken him to a John Stallworth. Mike Davis, the safety man, will be dropping back. You look at the full secondary here. There he is. Turner finally turned his head around. He's got to be a defensive back in that situation. He can't just let Mike Davis go up and pull that down without any hindrance.
The ball was 50 yards in the air. 2nd and 10. The Raiders lead, exploding here in the 4th quarter. Oh! Howie Long.
Howie's saying somebody moved over there. That's a penalty we've seen several times against the Raider offensive line today. Dick, as impressive as the Raiders are, interesting to me, they have not played that well yet this year. They really haven't.
We'd like to welcome those of you who have joined us here in Los Angeles. The Seahawks and Raider game still in progress. 28-14 Los Angeles. Immediately following this game, stay tuned for these programs on NBC tonight. Ricky's a runaway on Silver Spoons, and Punky Brewster throws a painting party in Henry's apartment. She's America's newest little sweetheart and the toughest kid on the block. And Michael enters a monastery in pursuit of diamond thieves on Knight Rider. Then it's the great debate, Reagan versus Mondale, followed by an NBC News special that will tell you who scored, who missed. and how much it's likely to mean on Election Day. That's all tonight right here on NBC. Second down and 15 for the Seahawks. Tom Flores' Raiders, the defending Super Bowl champions, are minutes away from their 5th win. Underneath, it goes to Dwight Scales, a 10-yard pickup to the 30, but short of the first down by 5. Otis McKinney made the tackle.
At this point in the game, with 4:35 and counting down in the 4th quarter, the Raiders defense will give the short passes underneath, and they'll just try and keep everybody in bounds. Right now, they're working on the clock as much as they are on the opposition. Dick, I'd indicated that the Raiders have not yet played that well. They really have. They've won. They've only lost one game, but their big quarter's been the 4th quarter. In fact, they've been lethargic in a number of those games, very slow getting on track, and they've done it again here today.
They beat you down, though, in that second half. Zorn, speaking of beaten down, that's the 5th sack for the Raiders, and Greg Townsend, who had 10.5 last year, has his first today.
Well, and when they get you in long yardage, and when they get you in a situation where you have to pass, and they can cover man-to-man, they just turn those big dogs loose up front and say, go get him. In this case, they didn't have any trouble finding Zorn.
Nothing meant disparagingly by using that expression, big dogs up front. They're just, they come and hound you.
No, believe me. Haven't been down there a few times. I don't have any disrespect for those guys on the line of scrimmage.
Jeff West with 10 men on the line of scrimmage for the Raiders, and Greg Pruitt back. High kick. Pruitt, fair catch at the 35.
I can tell you, Dick, that they do come in there growling and snarling, though.
Yeah, I bet you didn't do that.
I didn't do that. No, I didn't do that.
You said, excuse me, sir, might I get to your quarterback?
Just like to touch him on the forehead.
42-yard punt by West.
There's a man who knows a little about the defensive lineman. That's Earl Leggett talking to his Charges there. Formerly with the Chicago Bears. Ended his career as a teammate of mine out here in Los Angeles. They really love it. Very fond of that man, and he does a good job with him. He did some snarling early in the week.
Oh, yeah, he did. Not happy at all with the way the Raider defense played against Denver. Los Angeles with the ball at the 36-yard line, and just 3.5 minutes remaining from the Raiders moving into a first-place tie, regaining that first-place tie with Denver. The Broncos victorious against the Lions earlier this week. Finals earlier today. As you look at Townsend cooling off. 20-7, Chicago beat New Orleans. 31-7, Miami wins easily at Pittsburgh. Denver 28-7 winner at Detroit. The Cardinals upset the Cowboys in Dallas 31-20. The Jets won by 1 in Kansas City 17-16. Same score. New England won at Cleveland. Washington 35, Indianapolis 7. Tampa Bay outscored Minnesota 35-31, and Philadelphia defeated Buffalo 27-17. 2nd and 10. Marcus fumbles the ball. The whistle, though, said ball was down, and apparently the knee down as Allen coughed it up. Clock running. 2:35 late games. San Diego leading Green Bay 31-21 in the 4th quarter. Atlanta has defeated the Rams 30-28, and Cincinnati beats Houston 13-3, the first win for the Bengals. So this game and the Packer-Charger game, the only still underway.
Rams lost Kemp to injury in that ball game. Steve Dell's game down there really hurting after Ferragamo's early loss. Interesting about these quarterbacks with only 2 on the Raider side of the field. Plunkett down with that torn muscle in his stomach. If there was something happened, if something happened to Mark Wilson, it's possible that we would see Jim Plunkett. I think that's what we'd see. He'd
just
go in and hand it off. But another guy who can play on that side of the line of scrimmage is Ray Guy, the punter. For many years, he was listed as their number 3 quarterback. Of course, I think somewhere up in Nevada right now, a young man by the name of David Hum still goes out and works out regularly. They brought him back last year as a backup when they had some injury problems.
He's in the bullpen in Las Vegas. He's always ready to come back, as he has several times.
You saw a guy on the sideline. Maybe he's. You think he'll pull a Tom Matty trick and write the plays on his wrist if he has to go in there?
Tell you what, there's no one with a stronger arm than Ray Guy.
He can throw the football. He really can.
Let's give credit to Mark Wilson, a man who has not really played all season long, and in an injury situation. He's come in today, hit 11 for 18, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. So Wilson,
he really has done everything that they ask of him, and this is the opportunity he's been waiting for. And it might be tough for Plunkett to get him back out of that lineup.
3rd and 5. Oh, interesting. Wilson throwing, and there's Christensen. First down at the Seattle 35. 24 more yards for Christensen, who started today with 29 catches, and if memory serves me, that's his 4th this afternoon. Yes, for 70 yards.
Another big day for Todd Christensen.
Down to the 2-minute mark. The Raiders now in command after the game tied at 14 in the middle of this 4th quarter. Now here comes another one of those fantastic finishes.
Alcoa presents Fantastic Finishes. 1978, Art Rooney's Steelers against the Browns. Bradshaw hands off to Blyer, who gives to Swan, who pitches back to Bradshaw, who whales a 40-yard strike to Benny Cunningham that beats the Browns in sudden death 15-9. The Steelers handled the ball no less than 6 times on a flea flicker that brings victory to Pittsburgh on the game's final play.
2 minutes to go. The Raiders with a first down at the Seattle 35-yard line, and Mark Wilson with some excellent numbers, a yard shy of a 300-yard day in relief. He came in the middle of the first quarter. Chester Willis, who sees limited duty, the 4th-year man from Auburn, who had not carried all season long. Timeout by Seattle, their 2nd timeout used. Well, the Raiders have rebounded. Their defense has played much better than it did last week against Denver, and obviously they still are the team to beat.
Well, they certainly are. And the mark of a good team is a team that can win when they're not playing at peak performance, and a team that can win when they're having to utilize their second-line people. The Raiders have done both today. Started this game rather sluggishly, as you watch a couple of rather happy Raiders on the sideline. Mike Davis, a fine safety, and Lester Hayes, he say we're number 1. Well, you haven't done anything to disprove it today, guys. But I'm sure that Al Davis and certainly Tom Flores would like to see the Raiders get off to a faster start in these ball games. They were sluggish again today in the early going. They have come on like gangbusters here in the 4th quarter and have come on much better apparently under the tutelage and the hand of Mark Wilson at the helm. Wilson certainly will end this day over 300 yards passing.
Pretty good relief pitcher, Mark Wilson, and so do the San Diego Padres. Rich Gossage has just sewed up a 6-3 win as the Padres become the first team to win 3 in a row after down by 2 in the playoffs in the National League. Milwaukee did it in the American League a couple of years ago. So after the Cubs and all that excitement as they really bombed out the Padres, the first 2 games, and San Diego comes home and takes the final 3. They'll play the Tigers Tuesday night. It begins in San Diego right here on NBC. And of course next Sunday all of the NFL games will begin as scheduled, the usual time, 12:30 for NFL 84. Then the 1 o'clock kickoffs for the early games. You'll see the Chargers, Kansas City, Cincinnati, New England, Houston, Miami, Colts, Philadelphia, Jets at Cleveland. The Jets are 4-2 very quietly in contention in the East, although Miami, they're 6-0. And you'll also see, of course, the World Series as part of our Sunday activities here on NBC. Chuck Knox and Ben Bright, and I'm sure that isn't Chuck saying, hey, have you ever had any salmon up there in Seattle? I can give you some salmon sometime.
No, I don't think that's what he's saying. He may have been asking him about that fumble earlier in this second half. It appeared that Joe Nash had stripped the ball away from Mark Wilson. It was called a non-fumble, but in our replays, clearly the ball was loose before Wilson was either in the grasp or on the ground, and I think maybe that's what Knox was asking him about.
It was 14-all at the time and would have given Seattle the ball at the 30. Instead, the Raiders punted, and Seattle started from its 19, and of course did not score again. Running out the clock now, Frank Hawkins. Clock ticking away at 1:43. Seattle Seahawks cannot stop it.
Well, unfortunately, this game has gone the other way. And old warhorse.
Well, he looks like one. He's a sculpted warhorse, isn't he?
Put one of those helmets on him, one of those helmets with the big plumes on top, and hang a few swords on his waist, and we can just stick him right into one of those Cecil B. DeMille spectaculars.
That's right here in the Coliseum. Gee, looking ahead, if we may, 2 weeks from today here on NBC, you know the game we're going to have? The Raiders and the San Diego Chargers, a rematch of that terrific Monday night game. That'll be down in San Diego, or they'll still be on the flush of the World Series there. Guy punches it toward the corner, but misses, and it'll be Seattle's ball at the 20-yard line with 55 seconds showing on the clock. Seahawks play Buffalo at home up in the Kingdome next week.
There are the games, as you indicated.
Green Bay, San Diego, Kansas City ahead for the Seahawks, while the Raiders, Minnesota here at the Coliseum, then at San Diego. Denver, a rematch for them in those 2 games, the West, and then at Chicago. So things are not all that easy for the world champs.
Important to point out that this is a game within the division. So the results, not only the results, but the points are important here, because they are one of the first tiebreakers, first head-to-head, but well up on that list of tiebreakers, the number of points scored in head-to-head contests.
Zorn in relief of starter Dave Craig. Over the middle, I believe to Steve Largent. Yes, Largent to the 31 on a first down. I want to thank Costanza and Company, Shep Goldberg, Tim Tallman, Danny Moore for their assistance here in the booth. John Gonzalez, our director. Larry Cirillo, our producer in Los Angeles. Zorn dumping that one off to Dan Dornick, and Dr. Dornick is out to the 45-yard line, and a flag goes down, and perhaps a little face mask in the process. Clock stops. That helps the Seahawks because it stops the clock with 26 seconds left.
Indeed, they cannot stop it. And I'm sure these Seahawks and Chuck Knox and his staff are looking forward to the rematch that they'll have up in the Kingdome.
Oh, the fans will, too. It's already sold out.
That's a 15-yard penalty and a first down.
Alan, that's a flagrant foul, as the face mask, if grasped unintentionally, only a 5-yard penalty. That one was flagrant. Jerking on the face mask will march off 15. If you got a chance to see it here, there's Dornick coming up inside. Gets pressure from Rod Martin right there. Mike Davis, looked like maybe Davis, the man that reached in. Yep, there it is.
McElroy, I believe.
McElroy. All right, well, lots of hands. Lots of hands in there. But you can't use that to be a part of the tackle. That's what they call.
26 seconds left. 7 men playing very deep on pass defense. Zorn buys some time and throws it long. Out of bounds. Lane and Walker, the 2 Seattle jerseys in the end zone.
Lane has certainly not been as much of a factor in this game as he was last week, but Knox has done a marvelous job. When you look at all of the injuries and all of the problems that these Seahawks have had, to be 4-2 even at this point in the season, they have to be very pleased.
Well, the story for the Raiders, not only a defense that was tough against the run for most of the game, but Mark Wilson in relief of the injured Jim Plunkett, an outstanding game, and Marcus Allen again. When you need the big plays, when they needed the most, there was Allen, as he has performed so brilliantly for the Raiders.
3 wide receivers, the Big Ben play. They'll just throw it up and try and bounce it around down there.
And it's the Raiders who capture it in the end zone for the touchback. Van McElroy, who had 8 interceptions last year, comes up with his 2nd this season. 9 seconds. Raiders will snap the ball once, and this one will be over in Los Angeles.
Toki Williams, Flores, and on the other side, I'm sure a disappointed Chuck Knox. He does not like to lose. He's a scrapper.
80,929 at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. Watching this, many of those have headed home, and a lot of them left their cheers for the San Diego Padres. And we salute Dick Williams and the San Diego Padre management for their comeback win, and also to the Chicago Cubs, and how heartbreaking that must be for the Cubs, who have waited so long, seem to be very much in the driver's seat. And in some ways, I think that big crowd in San Diego decided that they could make some noise for the home team too, and really drove San Diego from behind, winning the final 3 and on to the World Series against the Detroit Tigers. A flag is down. That will not be the final play unless it's against Seattle. It is against Seattle, apparently.
And that's the end of the ball game. Well, Ben, go ahead. You can announce it, Ben.
No penalty. The game's over.
Good choice. And that's it. The Los Angeles Raiders are now 5-1, tied with the Denver Broncos. Seattle falls back to 4-2. 2 touchdowns in 19 seconds. Marcus Allen, one of the stars for the Raiders. It all adds up to a 28-14 win. Marcus Allen's a big baseball fan. Wonder if he'll try to squeeze a night off down in San Diego to see one of the games. We told you his brother, a big baseball player himself and a quarterback at Cal State Fullerton. That team 6-0. We'll be back with NFL 84, an interview with Allen after these messages from your local